Continues with Greg Hughes this morning. Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Lee.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What about yourself?
I'm doing good, thanks very much.
What's the crack with the secret sound?
Oh, it's 530 euros
You didn't record it, did you?
Didn't.
Does it sound like
I
what
still
it
don't
is?
know what it is. People are giving me these answers. I was thinking, no, it doesn't sound like that, that's for sure. Floss and teeth, not at all, not at all. I must ask Rory what it is. Do you know what it is?
No, how would I know?
That was a
what
bit
it is?
hesitant there
No,
now.
well, I don't, but I'm shocked that you might not know what it is.
I know.
Well,
Sure.
how do you know when to play that?
But sure, don't want to annoy Rory in the morning. You say, Rory, this Lee here. What are you phoning me this time in the morning for? I'm supposed to be off. Have a good show.
All right, Lee does know. I really hope he does know.
I think I do.
Okay. It is just after 9. It's time for a news update. Good morning. Get Mchale Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The EU has this morning announced details of a complete ban on Russian oil imports. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has told the European Parliament in Strasbourg that the proposed ban will be rolled out in a way that will minimise the collateral damage to the EU and its partners around the globe. She told MEPs crude oil would be phased out within 6 months and refined products by the end of the year.
Today we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil, seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined. We will make sure that we phase out Russian oil in an orderly fashion, so in a way that allows us and our partners to secure alternative supply routes and at the same time be very careful that we minimize the impact on the global market.
The Health Minister says the decision to delay sign-off on the new National Maternity Hospital is to address people's very genuine concerns about the project. The relocation from Holles Street to the St Vincent's campus has been the subject of controversy due to suggestions of possible religious interference in the delivery of services. Cabinet will review it again in 2 weeks, and Stephen Donnelly has offered to answer questions about the move before the Oireachtas Health Committee. The Finance Committee will today undertake detailed pre-legislative scrutiny of Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty's Judicial Council Amendment Bill. The legislation would require the insurance industry to provide information to the central bank outlining how the cost of claims has reduced as a result of the new personal injuries guidelines. It would also legislate for evidence of how such reductions have been passed on to customers. There's further calls for unused and derelict properties in Donegal to be brought into use to tackle homelessness. Councillor Mchale Colmcgill-Osbert claims homelessness has forced some people in the west of the county to sleep on streets, in cars or couch surf. With extensive housing waiting lists, he says houses lying empty, including holiday homes, should be taken over by the council immediately. He says for people to be homeless in this day and age is completely unacceptable.
You see the waiting list itself. There are hundreds and hundreds of people and families who are looking to get a forever home, but unfortunately due to the crisis and policy of the Dublin government, we're stuck in the position that we're in, or more importantly, the people who are looking for these homes are left. This is not good. 2022.
Weather now, scatter patches of light rain and drizzle this morning. It will become drier and brighter in the afternoon with highest temperatures of 13 to 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show, with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Okay, good morning. 4 minutes past 9, Wednesday the 4th of May. How are you? You're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show with plenty to keep you entertained, I do hope, over the next 3 hours. And the line's open for you now to get involved. I'll remind you of the numbers a little later on. Obviously, also, if you wish, you can watch the programme. Go to our website, highlandradio.com. Watch it in browser there on YouTube, or if you're on your Fire Stick, Facebook watch, your laptop, tablet, wherever it is, you can watch there, and we'd love to have you with us and interacting with us. Good morning also to Philomene watching in Malin Head, and Michael wishing us a good morning. Good morning to both of you too. Right, let's crack on with a look at what's making the front pages of the newspapers this Wednesday. We'll start with the Finn Valley Voice, and Reverend Raymond Blair, in his first official engagement as president of the Donegal Historical Society, unveiled a sign directing people to the grave of Isaac Butt in the Church of Ireland graveyard on Monday morning. Organised by the Ballybofey and Snowler District Historical Society, the initiative highlights the legacy of the founder of Home Rule. On to the Inish Times this morning, and good to see this story being highlighted again. Elderly Inishowen patients are being forced to travel to Sligo University Hospital to receive treatment for the chronic eye condition Macular Degeneration, along with what the newspaper understands to be a significant number of other ophthalmology patients. Older citizens are being prevented from receiving treatment locally in Letterkenny University Hospital, which provides only limited ophthalmic services. And which the thing that saddens me most about this story is that firstly it's a very quick procedure in Sligo, but secondly there are people that actually don't travel because it's too far to travel, it's too much effort, it's impossible. So there are people not only enduring the journey to Sligo for this relatively quick treatment, there are those that actually don't bother going at all because it's impossible for them. Maybe they don't have family that can help them get there or whatever it might be. So people, as I say, are having to travel great distances, but many people, and we've spoken to them on this programme, actually don't travel at all, which is incredibly sad. Macular degeneration is an eye disorder which causes blurred and reduced central vision. Patients with the condition require monthly intravitreal injections into the eye. Currently, these injections are only being administered in Sligo University Hospital, and as a result, Inishowen patients have no alternative but to travel down to Sligo. Something has to be done about that. It's been going on far too long. It's completely unacceptable, and particularly, I think, as it affects older people more so than others, and they've contributed so much to this country over the years, and now we are failing them on something that should be provided locally for them. They shouldn't even have to travel to Letterkenny from Inishowen. They should be able to be some sort of a 1 half day a week or a clinic half a day a week in Inishowen or West Donegal or wherever it might be. That's my opinion anyway. The Donegal Post, for parents on a day out or even a simple trip to the supermarket with children, knowing where there are clean, accessible toilets or baby changing facilities is a must. But if you are a parent or care for a child, teen or adult who cannot use a toilet because of additional needs, planning for changing facilities can be a nightmare. That's according to the steering group Changing Places Ireland. There are no registered changing places in Donegal, only 17 nationally, and that's a story also we were covering yesterday as well. Good to see getting more coverage there as well. On to the Irish Independent now, and levels of obesity in Ireland, which affects more than 1 in 4 adults, are now above the European average, and the condition has reached epidemic proportions, a major World Health Organization report has warned. Obesity prevalence for men and women in this country has now climbed to 25.3%. That's compared to a European average of 23.3%. Now, that 2% might not seem like an awful lot, but in terms of people's health and the treatment of them, it is hugely significant. Well, the difference is most striking for Irish men, 25.1% of whom are obese. This is compared to 21.8% on average across the EU. Ireland ranks 9th in a table of 53 countries for obesity. It is in 11th place for people who are either overweight or obese. Among children aged 5 to 9, children is in 9th place for overweight and obesity. For those aged 10 to 19, Ireland is in 20th place in the same table. The report warns obesity has reached epidemic proportions across Europe and is still escalating. Obesity is linked to at least 13 types of cancer. So it is, life and death situation. And when you speak to people in medicine, they believe it should be treated as a very much more seriously. We've had guests on this programme that warned of it, that it's a disease and it should be treated as such, and the approach to it should be as such, but it doesn't seem to be the case. The Irish Times, this is a story that is it's going to create a lot of debate across America and beyond, in fact. A potential Supreme Court ruling overturning the precedent that legalised abortion across the US could undermine other rights, including same-sex marriage and birth control, President Joe Biden has said. The constitutional right to abortion in the US has been thrown into serious doubt after a leaked draft opinion drawn up in the Supreme Court maintained it had voted to overturn the 1973 Roe and Wade ruling in adjudicating on a case which challenged restrictions on terminations in Mississippi. Mr. Biden said the draft, if adopted by the court as a final rating, would represent a fundamental shift in American jurisprudence. He said the rationale used by the Supreme Court Justice who wrote the draft, if upheld, would mean that every other decision relating to the notion of privacy is thrown into question. And what effectively means, because this is another issue that really has America split 50-50, though it's 60-40, but you know what I mean, it's very, very divisive. Half of the states in the United States, if that ruling is as has been leaked, would mean that there'd be no abortion services at all in half of those states. OK, the Irish Daily Mail now. Grocery bills are set to rise by at least €330 annually as food prices inflation hits its highest level in a decade. The soaring prices are leaving families struggling, new data shows, particularly coupled with 6 price increases from energy providers hitting within less than 1 week. Emer Healy, senior retail analyst with Kantar, which analyses supermarket spending, said the impact is being felt widely across store shelves and consumers will be noticing the effects on their budgets. Foods such as cooked poultry, bread, pasta and butter have seen some of the biggest jumps in prices. The average household is facing a €330 increase on their annual grocery bill, and 23% of households say they are now struggling to make ends meet when it comes to their weekly food shop. And you can see why very easily. You know, if you heat your home using oil or coal, the cost has gone through the roof. If you have to try and run a car, the cost has gone through the roof. And then obviously when it comes to food, prices going up as well. And you add it all together and it pushes even more people over the edge. On to the Irish Daily Star now, and the Secretary-General of the Department of Health will tell the Oireachtas Health Committee of his regret the appointment of Chief Medical Officer to a professor role will not now go ahead. Robert Watt will appear before the committee tomorrow to discuss the botched appointment of Dr. Tony Houlihan to a role at Trinity College Dublin. Dr. Houlihan is also due to appear before the committee. Mr. Watt will tell politicians that he believed when he conceived this proposal that it was essential that we continue to harness Dr. Houlihan's knowledge and skills in the public interest, and I regret that this will no longer be possible. I would suggest it's his fault. If they were so keen to have Dr. Tony Houlihan working in Trinity, go through the proper procedures, create the role, advertise the role, interview people, and if in fact Dr. Houlihan is the best qualified for the job, hire him and find a way to hire him whereby the Department of Health is not paying effectively for two, almost 300 grand, isn't it, for two CMOs. That's how you do it. So I think in his own testament there, Mr. Watt shines an even brighter light on his role in that whole debacle. On to the Irish Sun now, and the government has been blasted over a deal that will hand over control of the new €1 billion National Maternity Hospital to a company linked to the Catholic Church. TD Roisin Sholto last night described the proposal as murky. The state plans to enter into a long-term lease deal for a patch of land in Dublin on which the new National Maternity Hospital will be built. It previously was owned by the Religious Sisters of Charity, but has since been handed over to a company called St. Vincent's Holdings following agreement of the Vatican. But has that not been put on hold now as they tease that out further? And lastly, but not least, it's a sports story in the Mirror today. And we were talking yesterday about Katie Taylor's heroics at the weekend. And it seems she is going to get the big homecoming fight that many feel she deserves. Katie Taylor's chances of defending her world title at Croke Park in October got a huge boost, with stadium bosses and residents saying it's a knockout idea. As they say, the Mirror revealed, but sure, everyone was talking about it. The boxing queen dreams of treating fans to a world-beating performance on home soil. They claim that as they revealed it. She literally said it in the ring after the fight. But anyway, after the weekend's historic win in New York, she said, "We could sell out Croke Park. Imagine fighting in front of 80,000 people at Croke Park. Absolutely, that can happen. But it would be unusual. It would be unusual to see an outdoor event, a sporting event like boxing, held in October, very late in the year. So I don't know how that's going to work, but that's what's being planned. Right, now, did you know that there's been almost 184 claims for compensation as it relates to footpath, trips and slips? Not across the country, in Donegal. We're going to have more details on that for you after these.
Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure has everything you need to gear up for the GAA season this year. Get your hands on the brand new Donegal GAA home jersey, available in men's, ladies and kids, or gear up the whole family for pre-season and match days with the new Highland range of sweaters, leggings and snoods at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Since she got her free hearing aids with her PRSI at Specsavers, Roisin is a changed woman. Music has never sounded better, and that makes her dance. And dance. And dance. Her singing, though, well...
Free hearing aids with PRSI at Specsavers. Music to your ears. Find out more online. Terms and conditions apply.
It's back, and it's bigger and better than ever before. The one, the only, Grove Furnishings, a sale odyssey, your local easy living store.
Grove Furnishings' big anniversary sale is now on at Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights, or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
One of the biggest expenditures for the council, not one of them, but it's certainly very significant, and I believe going up, it certainly was the last council meeting I attended a couple of years ago, is insurance. And not surprising when you see the amount of claims being lodged as a result of trips and slips on Donegal's footpaths. Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh has been looking at these figures, and he's going to raise it at the next sitting of the local authority. Good morning to you, Jimmy. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. So what do the figures tell us? How many claims are being lodged over what period?
Yeah, Greg, at the minute, there's, I think this is via a recent newspaper report. There's 184 active claims. 68 of those are relating to slips and falls. So, there's 33 of those are in high category of claims of over 250,000. And in the final quarter of 2021, there was 364,000 paid out in relation to trips and falls. What I'm asking, Greg, is that the council review how we deal with small repair work, especially in relation to footpaths. I think if a footpath is on the footpath programme, it gets done within a period of 3 years or whatever. But I think there's so many small sections of footpath that get damaged, and it's getting those done quickly. I think could prevent some of this. I think that's a contributing factor to this.
Well, I presume if you can be seen to try and address problems as soon as they are notified to you, that would be a pretty sound defence. I mean, are we defending these claims, or are they being settled? I'm not quite sure how that works now, but to be paying out over $500,000 between October and December last year.
Yeah,
that would repair an awful lot of footpaths. We get the calls here, Councillor. I know some of these footpaths, and people, they don't want to be claiming because they don't want to be tripping in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Greg. It's not just about claims and about insurance. People are getting hurt. People are getting injured, and obviously people are getting quite seriously injured if there's substantial claims. So we want to avoid that. It's not even, a broken ankle or something like that. You can end up with arthritis down the line and have a problem your whole life.
Earlier this year, we're speaking to the family of a lady walking in Ballybofey, tripped over. And can you imagine this? This is a lady, I think she was late 70s, early 80s, broke both wrists and smashed her face. I mean, and this is a stretch of footpath that is in really, really bad condition. Then we get calls from another dozen people in the same boat. they had tripped. Generally speaking, it was people, older people. And I don't know if it's been repaired yet.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
well,
know, like I'm not asking you if it has, but I mean, it's not hard then to see that's one little area with a dozen people injured. You know, what's going on?
Yeah, that's right, Greg, and that's what I really want to examine in this motion to the council. How are we dealing with that? What's the system of responding to calls like that about a wee stretch of footpath? I know from my own experience that it can be difficult to get small things done, and it's no fault to the workers or any, they're working hard and all that. But I think we need to look at the system of how we deal with it. Some councils have a response there that they respond immediately to trip dangers and stuff like that. There's other councils. I've been looking at lists of other councils around the country that they use a rebate that you get from APB insurance, a dividend and so on. They put that money directly into dealing with trips and falls, dangers, And I don't know if we're doing that. I'm not saying we're not, because I'd rather really talk to you after the motion.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but I want to try and find out, what do we do? Are we doing these things that are happening around the country? There's also a Fix My Street website that, and it was talked about a couple of years ago. I don't hear it mentioned much now, but I wonder how much that is used and how much attention is paid to it as well.
This money's being paid out one way or other. I mean, the insurance company probably paying it out, but that means the premiums go up, presumably. We're paying a lot in any case. We need to be looking at what we're doing to, firstly, as you quite rightly point out, prevent people having very serious injuries and injuries that they carry with them for the rest of their lives in some cases. I know that, so I'm not being dramatic. But secondly, also, this money is being spent anyway. We need to be doing more to fix the problematic areas.
Absolutely, Greg. I agree, and we need a way of responding quickly.
Yeah, okay. I think Councillor Kavanagh.
I've lost it.
Yeah, pick it up there. Go ahead. You're back again. We need, what were you saying there?
I think, we need to look at how we respond to this, and we need to see if there's things within the system that we can change so that we can respond more quickly to where there's a danger of trips and falls.
All right, it'll be very interesting to see what the council's response to that might be. I'm not surprised that there's this amount of people falling and being injured. I'm surprised so many people are claiming. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure it'd be the first thing. I think they're right to if they're injured, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'd be the first thing that would come to my mind. But obviously people see the pathway there to be compensated.
Yeah, and Greg, you're right there to a valid point. I'd say there's loads more people, obviously, that don't claim at all.
Yeah.
That pick themselves up and dust themselves down and walk on.
Yeah, okay.
So
this is probably the tip of the iceberg. Okay, when is that meeting?
The meeting is next Tuesday, Greg.
Okay, we look forward to hearing what comes from that. Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh there, 086 60 25,000. Are you surprised at that? So let me look at these figures again. There are 184 claims for compensation currently active. And between October and December last year, the council finalised over 500,000 in payouts. The bulk of those relating to public liability slips and trips. They accounted for 364,000 of claims in the final quarter of 2021. Now, that's not to suggest that they all happened at that time. Maybe that's when they chose to settle them. Right, yesterday on the programme, we were speaking to Betty Holmes from DACC. She's obviously always at the forefront in terms of raising issues affecting people's health, women's health. And we learned that almost 6 out of 10 women are not turning up, this is according to the breast check figures, are not turning up for their initial screening. And the figures seem incredibly high. And we and Betty and obviously the team here are going, well, what's going on here? So we're contacting breast check to find out what the story is. But what happened then following that conversation is the majority of calls that we were receiving and texts we were getting from women was that they were 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. They had registered with breast check and had yet to receive an appointment at all. And they were very, very keen to get it, obviously, because it's a health screen. And if you can pick something up early, it can be treated far more effectively. Also, women in their 60s, late 60s, by their own testimony, by the way, who said that they were concerned about their breast health and they were waiting also. One said that she would travel wherever, whenever, to get the screening done. Such was her concern as it relates to her, wanting to make sure she's in good health. And then obviously the conversation started as to why is 69 the cutoff, as if women after the age of 69 might not have concern for their health, or that it might not be worth screening them. We know that's not to be the case. So there's two things going on here. Some of your comments coming in on that, which I didn't get to towards the end of the programme. This caller says, I missed your topic on breast check. My daughter phoned me to say normally we have Highland on all the time, but was downtown. That's okay. I've been trying to phone breast check as I thought I'd better check why. I was due an appointment in July 2020, but no appointment. So it's coming up to nearly 4 years. Don't think it should stop at a certain age either. The same with cervical check. Women should be more valued as part of society. I had breast cancer surgery 2 years ago, says another lady. I had a mammogram in a mobile unit in Donegal Town on Tuesday. I got a letter on that Friday to go to breast check in Galway Hospital the following Tuesday. I had surgery 3 weeks later in Galway and radiotherapy in June 2020 out in Mclaughlin. I had a mammogram last year but haven't seen a consultant since the op. It was the start of the first lockdown. I should have been called to a consultant in Letterkenny 1 year ago, but heard nothing since. I'm lucky to have been diagnosed so early, and I dread to think of where I'd be today if I hadn't gone for the first mammogram. I even thought of not going because I usually had my mammogram in Letterkenny. So that is why it's so important. But we really need to ascertain as to what's going on in terms of people saying they're really, really keen for their screening. And others, and then breast check saying more than half of people aren't turning up. A caller says, I use Ostrogel for my menopause and I also use Lenzotto spray. Neither are available in my pharmacy and no one can tell me when they might be available. There is no way this shortage would be acceptable for any other condition. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but if I were you, I certainly would check across the border to see what the availability of these products might be, because I have heard that sometimes they can be available in the north and not available in the south for whatever reason, and we are at an advantage maybe in this case in that we're really quite close to the border, so certainly worth checking out. Perhaps, I'm sure you already have, by the way. I hope I don't sound patronising. Talking about the state of our roads and footpaths, a caller says, those silly paving stone cobbles on streets on Buncrana are an accident waiting to happen, especially in those courtesy crossings. Can we not simply tarmac with that ash slip proof? Can't be any more expensive. And it's funny, I wonder what the situation is in other countries. You know, say for instance the Mediterranean countries, their footpaths are often are often built with those little stones, and there's many a time you'll see the stones are out or they're lifted up and are a real tripping hazard. Are the same level of compensation claims lodged in those countries, or do people not lodge them, or does the system not allow? Because as bad as ours are, in some of these other places, they can be incredibly slippy too. You'd imagine there's far more slips and falls. A caller says the new footpath and bicycle lane that works are being carried out is coming to a stop. Is there a plan for a footbridge? I don't know where this is, by the way, but they go on to say because it comes to an end and does not join the path at the bridge, what's the point of a footpath cycle lane if not to join the path at the bridge? Is it the path to nowhere? Could you let us know where that is, by the way, please? Because I don't know where you might be talking about. Re-trips and falls, too many claims and payouts in this area. Are they genuine? They ask. A quick buck with no luck. With that kind of money, name the people who receive the taxpayers' money. Well, there have been calls for those who make claims, I think certainly above a certain amount, not to be named and shamed, because I've spoken to people very seriously injured and inconvenienced and perfectly entitled to compensation. Right, okay, we were talking to yesterday about maintenance and the fact that we don't really know how many people pay the maintenance that they should, and we heard the stories of mostly women who they don't get their maintenance. Arrears are built up to such an extent that they don't even bother chasing it up. But this caller says, if a father doesn't want to contribute for his own flesh and blood for their food, clothing and heat in school, and the law of the land has to take him to court, then he couldn't steep any lower. Any parent who doesn't contribute to the cost of living for his child should have no access to them, says another. And finally, it should be the law of the land to have maintenance orders attached to the parents' wages. The state should not have to pay for these absent parents. And there's strong arguments with all of those comments there. Let me see. A caller says there was money allocated 11 years ago for footpaths up on Errigal Road, as they're currently covered in moss so bad that they actually have to run a lawnmower over it. Whatever happened, or is the work ever going to be done? So what we're saying is that the on the Errigal Road, I'm not familiar with this road, obviously the greens around it are mowed with a lawnmower. Are we saying that the footpath is in such a state that you mow the footpath? Well, that must be bad. Another caller says, why don't the state take the site of the maternity hospital off the Sisters of Charity as compensation for all the wrong that the church did to mother and babies? The church should have no say in any part of the stunning of state bodies, including schools. That's the running, of state bodies, including schools. Okay, just a quick mention before we take a break that John Breslin is around the Northwest today. He's broadcasting live from Letterkenny Main Street from 12 noon to 2:30pm. It's in advance of the EirGrid Energy Citizens Roadshow taking place later today at the Clanry Hotel in Letterkenny, and then it moves south to the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town tomorrow. The roadshow events will provide information about Donegal's energy future-proofing the grid in the Northwest, and details about home energy efficiency upgrades and grants. So the usual mix of music and entertainment, and also a bit of an education there as well.
Is your water safe to drink? If your water tastes unpleasant or has a foul smell, it may be a sign that something is in your water. Brothers Tech Donegal provide a complete private well water treatment service using the best water treatment equipment to meet your needs. Or maybe you drilled a new well and the water isn't satisfactory. At Brothers Tech, their expert team will also service existing problematic systems. If you're concerned about the quality of your water, call Brothers Tech on 087 638 7057.
Experience a taste of Italy with the Italian event at Dunnes Stores. Mix and match any 3 for 2 on our new Italian range. Think delicious Italian-made fresh and filled pastas, flavoursome sauces, hand-stretched stone-baked pizzas, and all butter tear and share breads. Buy any 2 products, get the 3rd free. Plus, with our 10/50 grocery voucher, you save even more, which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €50 or more.
With longer evenings, outdoor living is back, and there's great offers right now in garden furniture at Kelly Central Letterkenny. Outdoor tables, chairs and benches at unbeatable prices. Also, portable barbecues, accessories and everything for grilling and chilling. Find all you need for outdoor entertainment at Kelly's award-winning Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Harry Jack's Diner, Strabane. American-style diner, ice cream parlor, and takeaway. Opening soon at Market Square, Strabane. For the real diner experience, it will have to be Harry Jack's.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who has the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
Now, an inspection of HSE-run disability centres in Donegal has found poor oversight and governance arrangements at local, regional and national level. The HIQA looked into this and published their report recently. In addition, the HSE was required to improve its assurance mechanisms at regional and national levels to ensure that safeguarding arrangements to protect residents from risk of harm are effective. The inspection followed a report published last year which showed residents in the Ardgreen Court Centre was sexually abused over a lengthy period by another resident who is now deceased. A resident called Brandon carried out at least 108 sexual assaults on 18 intellectually disabled adults, many non-verbal, over a number of years up to 2016. Should there be failures to address these poor governance and oversight arrangements, it remains conceivable that another safeguarding incident may occur similar to that which was identified in November 2021. That is that last statement attributed to HIQA. Anne Rabbitte is Minister of State for Disability in the Department of Health and the Department of Children, Equality, Disability and Integration and Youth. Good morning, Minister. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Right. I mean, this makes for shocking reading, but I suppose in a way it lays it bare so that hopefully we can do something about it.
Absolutely. I think it lays it really bare. I don't to me, there is no real surprise in this. I'd like to tell you there is. There's no real surprise. And that's why at all times I wanted the publication of the Brandon report. I think by having had the publication of the Brandon report, I could have been X number of months on, I believe. And at the same time, when I talked about last November, when I talked about it last September, I genuinely wanted openness and transparency to actually would highlight what has come out within the HIQA reports here. And the piece that comes out is that HIQA, as the regulator, do their job. They go in, they identify, there is a reactionary process, and then it slips away again. So there's no sustained delivery of implementation, is what HIQA are telling us in the 12 sites that they visited.
Have you seen the HSE's plan on how it is going to address these shortcomings?
Yes, it's meeting about meeting. And perhaps I am not totally... I think myself, from my point of view, what I'm looking for is an independent review of adult safeguarding in Donegal's long-term residential care settings.
What would that tell us that the HIQA report hasn't told us? I mean, we need to throw it out and start from scratch, really, if what HIQA says is true. What would another review of what's happening in Donegal, what would it achieve beyond what the HIQA report reveals?
Let's be clear here. What HIQA says is true. Okay, let's start there. What HIQA says is true. It's very, very clear there. And HIQA are the regulator. And it's not the first time HIQA has said this. And it is quite unusual that HIQA would blitz a county the way they have done throughout the month of January. And that proves their point. So what an independent review would do is, like I've always been critical, perhaps in the past, that we've looked at how we deliver care, perhaps through a completely medical lens. And that's what I was critical in relation to the commentary around Brandon. Everything was about episodes, a medical lens. I believe that we need to look at it in the social care model. Like, we're talking about very, very vulnerable adults. We're talking about how we can reassure their families, their siblings, that there's proper safeguarding facilities in place and understands the complex needs of, if a person has, as they would call it within the HSE, an episode, how we support, reinforce, and change the culture of delivering. And it's also important as well to say this morning on the show as well, is that in HIQA's commentary as well, they were very, very complimentary of the frontline staff. They were very, very complimentary of the staff in the units. The critical piece within the report was middle and upper management. It was not to do with the staff that were there. They didn't feel they were supported.
Okay. They're identifiable, presumably, by the HSE, by yourself. You know, if this were a private-run company, they'd be out on their ear or suspended pending an investigation. But it doesn't work like that here. You can be found to... a system can be found to be failing those that it's been put in place to protect. And then we have HIQA saying, look, this could be happening again right now. It could be happening in the future. And yet many of these people are still in their positions, and you're calling for a review. What the families, I presume, want is you to go in there with a wrecking ball, if required, and root out who's responsible for this and replace them.
So what I go back to it again, what HIQA were very clear about is that the frontline staff are doing a really good job.
I know, and if they were listened to, if they were listened to, what the findings of the findings of the Brandon report may have been very, very different. So we know that the people on the front line, those working directly with these people, do, for the most part, a very good job. Those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about, and I know they don't like the phrase, pen pushers that should be easily identifiable in these positions, root them out, suspend them, do what might happen in any private company, and put people in there that families and service users can trust.
And that's why I'm saying is that we need an independent group, an independent adult safeguarding reassurance group put in place. That is independent of HSE, independent of HIQA, with the expertise in social care, with an understanding of where it is failing and how it is failing and how it is repeatedly failing, and the reassurance pieces that it won't fail or reoccur again, that we can protect our adults that are in long-term residential care in Donegal. It's also important as well to identify here that within the same CHO, be it Sligo, which was cited, this problem doesn't exist. So clearly there is an issue with how, when an issue is identified, how it's responded to, how it's acted to it, how it's understood, and actually how staff are supported or how families are informed. So what I really want with my independent, because I've never got the opportunity of the publication of the Brandon report, is by having an independent review, they get access to all the reports, they pull from within it, and they can draft up the methodology and the themes and terms of reference, which looks at relationships and patterns.
Yeah, and what they'll probably do, okay, they will probably come in and repeat what HIQA said, and they will look at what's happening elsewhere or whatever, and they'll put pathways in place so that if a problem's identified, you have to report it here, and that person's obliged to do this, that, and the other, right? No one's going to be held responsible for what has gone on up until now.
To be quite honest with you, if I didn't read the Brandon recommendations over 12 months ago, and where it says challenge the old guard, perhaps we wouldn't even be having this conversation today. Perhaps for the likes of Thomas Pringle, Charlie McConnell continuously raising this with me, it actually would have gone unnoticed as well. So I would like to think that I am here with the intention of putting a system to clearly understand. I think the most important piece that we need to give to families is reassurance.
Okay.
It has to be about reassurance. You or I are not walking in the footsteps of any of the families that have loved ones.
No.
They themselves need to know that when their loved ones is in care, that they are in the best possible care, and they're reassured if something goes wrong, that the triggers can be identified.
Right, so this is obviously going to allow loads of time. Is it going to be the same as what we see in the past, that this drags on? Those who should be held accountable for this will maybe take early retirement, move to another department, go into the private sector, collect their pension, and ride off into the sunset. No one again will have to take the blame for what's gone on here.
I think you have a very cynical approach to the whole process.
I agree. I really, really do have a very cynical approach to the process.
So I have to say that because I think you're not listening to what I'm trying to do here. First and foremost, my timeline on this is that I will have the terms of reference for June. There will be an independent person appointed with the proper skill sets, and it will be time bound within 6 months. So there will be a clear pathway, as you would call it there, of understanding of what the methodology is behind it, what's the terms of reference, and what's the end result. And also, we have enough reports out of Donegal to paint Leinster House at this stage. It's time to action those reports as opposed to stop talking about them.
All right. So at the moment, just as in a short-term measure, can you not sort of have people within your department that say, well, what is happening in Sligo that works, that's happening in Donegal that doesn't work, and make changes immediately to try and plug any gaps or failings there?
Yes, and I met yesterday with my Department of Health and the Department of Children and Equality, actually to actually tease and drill down into that exact point, to actually have a meeting with the HSE themselves to say, well, what's working? Why is it working in Sligo and not in Donegal? And what can we do to plug the gaps in the interim while I'm doing my review?
Are you getting much of a pushback from the HSE, either locally, regionally, or nationally on this?
Well, sure, the biggest pushback of all is the one publishers. So, like, that to me is the biggest pushback. The lack of openness and transparency that we could be further in the process. If this was published last December, more than yourself, I can be a little bit cynical too. Publishing this the day before we rose, coming into the Christmas period, allowing us not to discuss it, never had the time on the floor of the Dáil to tease right into it. That in itself is a management of a minister and a management of openness and transparency, and it's a disrespect to the families in Donegal.
Last time I spoke to you, I believe it was the last time, I asked what your relationship was like with the HSE. You said it was a good working relationship. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is a working relationship. I have to look at, of course, there's challenges being a minister, and there's challenges, I suppose, from the HSE point of view. I probably don't understand the word no very well, but I still just get on with the job. They have a job to do as well. But at the end of the day, when I came into this role as a Minister for Disability, at all stages, when I looked around the room, I saw the role of the HSE, I saw the role of the department, and do you know the voice that was missing? The voice representing persons with disabilities. So I've adopted that particular avenue.
Okay, and I don't want to labour a point, and I'm sorry if I sound cynical, but people feel, Anne, and I'm sure you get this as well, right? People feel that we stumble from one crisis to another. And in this country, we seem to have a difficulty in saying this person or that person or these group of individuals were responsible for this, not to be dragged out into public and something done to them. I don't mean it like that, but that there is a sense in politics, in health, in the civil service, that there is people take responsibility for it, and that's why I'm labouring that point a little bit, Anne, because we have HIQA's report, we'll have this independent review, and hopefully things improve and service users and their families can feel more confident in it. Okay, but why can't we just say that, you know, these are the people that are responsible, and this is the sanction against them? You know, I'm not looking to ruin their lives or anything, but I think that's the problem with why people feel nothing ever gets done in this country.
I believe in accountability. I believe in transparency. I actually am accountable every 4 or 5 years before the public. And it's my name that goes either at the top of the letter or at the bottom of the letter. And everything, whether it's right or wrong, rests with me as the minister. So it's important for me to get this right. And I do believe in accountability, and I will be dogged to the end in Donegal. And whatever is the outcome or the findings out of Donegal will be the benchmark as to how we look at long-term residential care, not just in Donegal, but nationally.
Okay, and just off the back of this HIQA report, what is being done right now to, as much as is possible, ensure, as they say, that a incident similar to that exposed in as much as we saw of the Brandon report does not happen again? So in terms of an emergency response to making sure we aren't seeing the same thing happen again, what's happening as we speak now to make sure that doesn't happen? Have all managers been called, or all people, decision makers been called and said, look, at least in the interim, this is precisely what has to happen, and we need a paper trail, and this stuff will be checked every week or whatever it might be to make sure no one is being subjected to abuse or any other mistreatment?
Yes, that's exactly what HIQA are doing, and they're in that conversation with the HSE as we speak at this moment in time. But I suppose what has come out of the HIQA reports is that when they get off the pitch, we need to ensure that there's continuity of that piece of service. And that's the piece that I'm not confident in. HIQA are not confident in, is if we walk off the pitch, can we trust that proper safeguarding measures will continue into the future? And at the moment, HIQA are not in that space, and neither is the Minister.
Well, that's some statement, isn't it? Finally, Deputy Thomas Pringle wants a Dáil debate on this report. I'm not sure if that's been scheduled or if it will happen. Would you welcome that?
I would welcome it, absolutely.
Okay. Minister, thanks for your time. Sorry for my cynicism, but I've been ground down, I suppose, over the years. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that is the Minister of State for Disability in the Department of Health and Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth. And maybe, I don't know, I just want some sense of assurance that one of the ways that we prevent stuff like this happening again is that someone feels that if I put a foot wrong or if I don't do my job correctly, that there could be some consequences of it. And I'm not sure that really feels like that is the case. Right, I want to mention that a Gemma Mchale Memorial 5K walk run is taking place at the Ahiyarn Centre this coming Friday. The race begins at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Registration for the evening is from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Also on Wednesday the 4th of May at 7 p.m. at 9 p.m. in the centre or online. which is probably most convenient, mark.athletics@gmail.com. Proceeds go to Castledar Comfort and Terminally Ill Fund, MS Mindfulness and Counselling in local primary schools and other local charities. Refreshments served afterwards. That's the Gemma Mchale Memorial 5K walk run at Ahiarn Centre. If you're that way inclined, it's this coming Friday evening, 7:30 p.m. Register at mark.athletics@gmail.com.
This is your guide to smart glasses. Smart glasses often look like regular glasses, and some of them have built-in cameras. Even if you don't wear smart glasses, it's helpful to know what it looks like when someone who is wearing them is taking a photo or video. The person wearing smart glasses usually has to take an action, such as tapping the capture button to activate the camera. When the smart glasses are recording, you'll see an LED light on the frame. So now you know a bit more about smart glasses.
A message from Meta and Essilor Luxottica.
Teagasc are holding a spring crop walk this Wednesday the 4th at 7 p.m. on the farm of P&D Killen, Labadish, Manor Cunningham, F92 K7 29. Topics include spring and winter crop management, nutrient management and outlook for tillage. Speakers are Shay Phelan, Teagasc crop specialist, and Martin McCullough, Teagasc Donegal. All are welcome.
I have great news for everyone who's looking for a good night's sleep. Restex Beds are looking forward to welcoming you to their brand new showroom at Mountaintop, Letterkenny. It's one of the biggest and best bed and mattress showrooms in the Northwest and has fantastic opening offers now in store. Restex is the most trusted name in beds and mattresses in the Northwest. Why don't you call in and get the bed of your dreams at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
COVID-19 booster vaccines now available for over 65s and all eligible patients in your local Healthwise pharmacy. Appointments now available. Please ask in-store or complete an online form at healthwisepharmacies.ie. COVID-19 booster vaccines are the best way to stay protected against COVID-19 and are recommended by our pharmacists. Healthwise Pharmacies, caring for your community.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Get ready to hit the beach and soak up the sun by choosing flights to Alicante, Barcelona, Faro, Mallorca, Malaga and Milan this summer with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Okay, so it's going to remain a little bit damp this morning, but things are expected to brighten up somewhat into the afternoon. That's me bluffing it. Now I'll actually read it. A cloudy start today with scattered patches of light rain and drizzle. However, it'll become drier and brighter in the afternoon. I wasn't doing too bad there. With sunny spells developing, feeling humid with highs of 13 to 15 degrees and a light to moderate northwesterly breeze. Jen McCarran is spokesperson for Inishowen Pride and joins us on the programme now. Jen, good morning to you.
Hi, Greg. Good morning.
It's good to have you with us. Right, tell us what Inishowen Pride is.
Well, Inishowen Pride is basically it's an opportunity to celebrate the diversity in Inishowen, in Donegal, in relation to the LGBT plus community. Really a diversity that's always been there, but that's not been visible. And we really want to just create visibility around the community and give allies, friends, neighbours a chance to come out and show support and solidarity.
That's it. It's an event for all.
It's an event for every sector of society, voluntary communities, services, statutory bodies. We're LGBT people are part of our families, our friends, our work colleagues. So it really touches all aspects of society, and we're really excited about it.
You know, as in all communities, so to speak, you know, people are at different places. You'll have those that, you know, are very open or whatever, or feel comfortable. You know what I mean? You know where I'm getting at. But there are many then that don't feel there for whatever reason. Maybe it's their own personal choice, or maybe it's about acceptance. Events like this are important, I think, for those that sort of would get a benefit from it. Do you get where I'm coming from? Do you know? It's a clunky way of putting it, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like last year in Buncrana, for anyone that visited the town, they would have seen the beautiful colourful rainbow flags that businesses put up, that the county council put up coming into town, that the Gardaí went and had up on the station. And I really think it sent an important message. It was a great sign of inclusion. And that's really what inspired this year's parade. That's
exactly what I was looking for, the feel included.
And the theme, the theme we have for this year's parade is all welcome here. And I think it's really fitting because we are a welcoming community, and I think there is elements of fear and worry and anxiety around young people coming out today.
and people haven't always felt that sense of belonging. And we're having quite meaningful and emotional messages coming from Donegal people who left many years ago and left in Inishowen, who plan to travel home from Galway, from Dublin, from Cork, and from other countries because they're so moved by the idea that this event is happening.
Yeah, and many of those may have felt, because of their sexuality, that they had no choice. If they wanted to be themselves, that they had to move to a Dublin or what have you.
Yeah, I think it was a lack of visibility. There was a lot of silence, a lot of shame around people's identity. And this event's really going to be a chance for people to kind of, move away from those times and to create positive change for the future, for our young people, but also our older people, for also people of similar age to myself, to just change the narrative and let people know that they're welcome and that we are a very diverse community, as we always have been, and we're going to celebrate that in big style on June 5th.
Yeah,
in
and I don't want in any way to be negative, Jen, but I suppose this is about moving forward. Sometimes you get a feeling over the last year or so that maybe we're moving backwards a little bit sometimes.
I think there's there is worries out there that there is negative attitudes, but I think the power of positivity that comes from a Pride Parade is pretty overwhelming. And last year we saw that alone with the flags shown around Buncrana, and I think the community spirit that is being shown at the moment in relation to this event and the positive messages, responses that we are getting in relation to the event is overwhelming. And I just would love for all members of the LGBT community in Inishowen and Donegal to know that we have got incredible positive support in relation to this. It's overwhelming. Brilliant. And while there is negativity, I think the positivity is going to outweigh any negative responses.
Okay, so hopefully people turn out in the big numbers. In terms of setting the stage, what can community groups, businesses, whomever, homeowners do to sort of get on board with this?
Greg, I think you've named the inclusivity there. This is crossing all divides. So, I mean, number one, family, friends, neighbours, listeners here today. You guys are the important people. It's either to come and walk in the parade or come and show your support. People may feel that this is a parade for somebody else. It's going to take place. What will make it a success? What will show support for our LGBT plus community is people being present on the day. There's many ways that we can show support throughout the year, but in one action, by just being there on June 5th in Buncrana, you will show your values of support, inclusivity, your values for equality. For the likes of businesses, community centres, schools, any social groups, sports clubs, anybody involved in any form of group, we would ask that you think about decorating your premises, putting on a window display, come with a banner, possibly come with a float. We're asking anyone that's interested in coming with a banner or a float or group to just email us just to register. You can give spot prizes, think about organising a fundraiser or give a donation.
Yeah. And this is obviously too. It will show you support for individuals in the LGBTQ plus community, but it's also their brothers, their sisters, their aunties, their uncles, their mums and dads, which pretty much includes every household probably in Inishowen. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, Greg. I mean, it's. I think the easiest thing for people to do is to try follow us on one of our social media outlets, which would be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We have a lot of exciting things planned, so we'd really like people to watch those spaces. If anyone's interested in volunteering, we've had such a positive response in that we've actually started a register. So whatever your skill set is, whatever your background is, if you value equality, if you value inclusivity, if you want to be part of this celebration, the first celebration in Donegal, and being hosted by Inishowen Pride, then contact us, be a part of it. There's room for everybody.
And if you want to have fun, turn up in Buncrana, June 5th at 3 p.m. I hear the weather's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be the best.
Okay.
May inhaler shine. We're going to be celebrating in style, Greg.
Right.
So we hope to see you there too, of course.
Jen, we'll speak between now and then again, I'm sure, for a
Okay,
final
thank you
push.
so much.
Okay, listen, thanks very much for that. That's Gemma Karen, spokesperson for Inishowen Pride. And we'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress protectors and all kitchen textiles are still half price. But when all our half-price mattress protectors and all our half-price kitchen textiles are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
At M&S Food, you'll find loads of quality products, all at a new lower price. Like our traceable lean Irish mince beef, just €4, perfect for a cottage pie. Rich tea biscuits, just 30 cents, perfect with a cup of tea. And 4 crisp, juicy Braeburn apples, just €1.50. And the best bit? There's absolutely no compromise on quality or taste. Look out for our new lower prices. Just one of the ways to save with M&S Food. Subject to availability, new lower price since March 31st. See in store for details.
Join John Breslin for Around the Northwest this Wednesday live from Lower Main Street, Letterkenny with EirGrid, the operator and developer of the electricity grid, ahead of its Energy Citizens Roadshow, which takes place on May 4th at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, and May 5th at the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town. To register, visit airgrid.ie/shaping.
There's more than me coming back to the Mountaintop Letterkenny. This month, Restex Beds have just opened their brand new showroom. And if you're like me and you really appreciate a good night's sleep, these guys have brilliant ranges of beds and mattresses, and they have some great offers too. Call in and check out their new showroom, now open just beside us here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Mchale Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. Minister Anne Rabbitte has called for an independent review of adult safeguarding in long-term residential care settings in Donegal. A report published by HIQA last week following inspections at 18 HSE-run centres in the county found major issues around governance and oversight. Concerns were also raised over the HSE's ability at a national level to bring about improvements, warning that failing to do so could result in a significant safeguarding issue. Minister of State at the Department of Disability Anne Rabbitte told the 9 till noon show this morning that the social needs of residents needs to be looked at also.
What an independent review would do is, like I've always been critical, perhaps in the past, that we've looked at how we deliver care, perhaps through a completely medical lens. And that's what I was critical in relation to the commentary around Brandon. Everything was about episodes, a medical lens. I believe that we need to look at it in the social care model. Like, we're talking about very, very vulnerable adults. We're talking about how we can reassure their families, their siblings, that there's proper safeguarding facilities in place.
The EU has announced details of a complete ban on Russian oil imports. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has told the European Parliament that the proposed ban will be rolled out in a way that will minimise the collateral damage to the EU and its partners around the globe. She told MEPs crude oil would be phased out within 6 months and refined products by the end of the year.
Today we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil, seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined. We will make sure that we phase out Russian oil in an orderly fashion, so in a way that allows us and our partners to secure alternative supply routes, and at the same time be very careful that we minimise the impact on the global market.
It's expected the issues surrounding the new National Maternity Hospital will be raised by opposition TDs in the Dáil today. Last night, Cabinet delayed signing off on the relocation of the facility to St Vincent's campus in South Dublin as they said further details of the plan were needed. It comes amid concerns from pro-choice activists that the site's links to the Catholic Church will impact reproductive care. Minister Stephen Donnelly insists the hospital will operate entirely independently.
One of the questions a lot of your listeners are asking are, will termination of pregnancy, will tubal ligation, will gender affirming surgery, will assisted reproduction be available at the new National Maternity Hospital? The answer is an absolutely clear and categoric yes, they will.
The Finance Committee will today undertake detailed pre-legislative scrutiny of Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty's Judicial Council Amendment Bill. The legislation would require the insurance industry to provide information to the central bank outlining how the cost of claims has reduced as a result of the new personal injuries guidelines. It would also legislate for evidence of how such reductions have been passed on to customers. The Cathaoirleach of the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District is urging the council to carry out a review of how small repair works on footpaths are dealt with. It comes as latest figures show claims totalling €364,000 for trips and falls was paid out by the council in the final quarter of last year. There are currently 184 active claims against the local authority, 68 relating to slips and falls, 33 ranked in the high category of claims of over €250,000. Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh believes repairing footpaths in a more timely manner could be the solution.
I think, if a footpath is on the footpath programme, it gets done within a period of 3 years or whatever. But I think there's so many small sections of footpath that get damaged, and it's getting those done quickly. I think could prevent some of us. I think that's a contributing factor to this.
There's further calls for unused and derelict properties in Donegal to be brought into use to tackle homelessness. Councillor Mchale McGill-Osberg claims homelessness has forced some people in the west of the county to sleep on streets, in cars or couch surf. With extensive housing waiting lists, he says houses lying empty, including holiday homes, should be taken over by the council immediately. Councillor McGill-Osberg says for people to be homeless in this day and age is completely unacceptable.
If you see the waiting list itself, there are hundreds and hundreds of people and families who are looking to get a forever home. But unfortunately, due to the crisis and policy of the Dublin government, we're stuck in the position that we're in, or more importantly, the people who are looking for these homes are left. This is not good. 2022.
Weather now, scattered patches of light rain and drizzle this morning. It will become drier and brighter this afternoon with highest temperatures of 13 to 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, May the 4th. The death has taken place of Jim Kenny, Sleevebawn, Mallinhead. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountaintop, Letterkenny this afternoon at 2 o'clock, going to his late home. Funeral leaving there on Friday morning at 10:30, going to the Star of the Sea Church, Mallinhead, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Lag Cemetery, Malin. House private tomorrow from 9 o'clock for family and close friends only, please. The death has taken place in Islington, London, of Michael Daly, formerly of 38 St Joseph's Park, Buncrana. Michael's remains are reposing at his sister Helen's residence, 38 St Joseph's Park. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, burial in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has occurred of Hugh Rogers, Mulladuff. His remains are reposing at his home, house strictly private at the request of the deceased. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in the Star of the Sea Church, Annagry, with interment afterwards in the new cemetery. The death has occurred of David Whelan, Ballyboe, Lismonaghan, Letterkenny. David's remains are reposing at the family home. Funeral Mass at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in St Junan's Cathedral, with interment in New Leck Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Family time, please, from 9 o'clock tonight and on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Agnes Breslin, née Mulroney, Ballymackle, Frosses, County Donegal. Remains reposing privately for family, close friends and neighbours at her home today from 12 noon until 10 o'clock. Removal tomorrow for 12 o'clock funeral mass at the Church of the Blessed Virgin Mary Frosses, with interment in the adjoining cemetery. House private on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to the Heart Foundation, care of any family member or John McGowan, funeral directors. Agnes's funeral mass can be viewed on mcmmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Kevin Doherty, Harbour Road, Bombay, and formerly of Ballina, County Mayo. His remains are reposing at his home. Rosary tonight at 8 o'clock, house private after Rosary until 11 o'clock. Funeral Mass in St Mary's Church, Derrybeg, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in Maharagallon Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the Kieran Rorty Funeral Director Facebook page and on the Chop Hubbleware webcam. The death has taken place of Mary Canavan, née Sweeney, formerly Strelongford, Drumkeen and London, England. Funeral from the family home, Knockbrack, Letterkenny, this morning at 10:15, going to St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member. And the death has taken place of Christina O'Kean, née Gallagher, 10 Crowham View, Strabane, reposing at her home. Funeral from there this morning at 11:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 12 noon, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Strabane and District Caring Services, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the second hour of the show on this Wednesday, the 4th of May. How are you all keeping? I hope you're very well. Tell us, 086 60 25,000. Share your news, your feelings. Call Caroline on 07491 25,000. Some of your comments coming in so far this morning on what was a busy first hour. I think the Vatican should be in control of the hospital. I understand that hard decisions need to be made. I think there would be a place for abortion to take place, but it shouldn't be on the same grounds as where life is created, which would mean pretty much any hospital, I presume. Could you please explain why we're hearing and seeing so much information recently about smart glasses? Is this an ad or a warning? It's a very interesting question, and one which I've asked myself. I mean, Meta, obviously, which is the main company for Facebook, they're obviously pushing out this the likes of smart glasses, the alternative realities and all that type of stuff. I presume what they're trying to do is soften us up to it, to say that this thing, this could be a norm. I know Google Glass, they've been out for years. I'm not sure how heavily they were adapted, but Facebook, Meta are going to be going big into that space. And I presume they just want to be seen, to be letting everyone know what's going on. I don't think it's anything to be worried about, but as soon as I heard those ads, you're thinking, you know, if there's an LED light, people are going to block off that light if they were looking to use their glasses for, any controversial reasons. I'm thinking changing rooms and stuff, or any sort of private environment like that there. You know, everyone's going to be suspect of someone wearing glasses. But if it is the future, maybe that's the way it is. But I presume they're trying to get out in front of any controversy to say that there's beeps and there's lights, but all of that can be circumnavigated. I would just wonder if we're going to be hearing an awful lot over the coming years about secret recordings of people in compromising situations or in private situations. So I don't have any insight other than that. I'm in the exact same position as you. I'm just supposing what the reason might be. Right. Sadly, your cynicism betrays the fact that you are an enemy of the establishment. To the minister, excellent journalism, Greg. No minister should get a comfortable time, especially with the incompetent way they've run the country. Well done. Read the minister on this morning. The usual blah blah, not a mention of disciplinary action against these middle management and their senior management found to have been at fault. It's the same old stuff throughout government and senior management. Look, it's a couple of texts, but I'm pleased that some people agree with me, because I thought I was barking up the wrong tree, but it's just these talks, these reviews. There's a report there from HIQA which is damning. If that's not enough to start taking some action, then we need another external review from someone in Northern Ireland, and yet still on and on it goes. So, I mean, I admitted my cynicism. Greg, I'm a patient in 3 departments at Letterkenny Hospital. I'm 18 months behind on treatment for my eyes. I finally got my appointment, and on the way to the hospital I was called to say it'd been cancelled. I'm also 2 years behind on what is supposed to be a annual oncology scan. I know I'm not the only one. I don't understand what has happened, and I'm really sorry to hear that. Greg, 500 litres of heating oil has now jumped from $6.40 to $7.20. This is ridiculous. It's so expensive. I think it was around $7.20 the last time I bought oil, but everybody is on strict instructions not to switch it on if at all possible. It's so bloomin' expensive. Greg, the price of coal's expected to hit €30 by winter. Will sanctions really help us, or just continue to drive up prices? We are going to be in a period of price growth. I note the Pope yesterday said that in his conversations with the Hungarian Prime Minister that Vladimir Putin indicated to him that the war would end on May 9th, which is Victory Day. I'm not sure that is the case, but that's what the Pope said yesterday. Wouldn't it be? It would be fantastic on so many levels, particularly in terms of the protection of life, if that situation was resolved sooner rather than later. I'm not confident, and I don't think the Pope was either. Greg, I want to raise the question of banks going completely digital. I'm 90 years old and I've had to put my daughter's name on my account. I would rather handle my own affairs, but I'm just too afraid of pressing the wrong button. Why can't there be a service for older people so we can keep our independence? A question that's been asked many times on this programme. I think as people age and as younger people age, there would have been a natural transition there as it relates to, the likes of post offices, and that personal touch with customers and what have you. I think these big businesses, these huge businesses could have retained a certain amount of real people, even if it were for over a certain age group, or people under a certain age group that might need that type of a service, and then push everybody else digital. But I think a lot of people are being left behind, and it is terribly unfair, and I agree with you. Ask the council how much debt they are in. I think it will raise an eyebrow. Well, it's huge. It's there. It's released in the budget. It's released in the budget annually. I can get that for you. Following on from the texts on the footpath connection at the Port Road in Letterkenny, there's a river banking between the bridge path next to the Polestar roundabout and the new path as it stands. The new path comes to a dead end. Okay, thank you for that. I do appreciate you clearing that up for me. The footpath in front of the shopping centre in Ballabafay that was the scene of a lot of accidents has been repaired at long last, Councillor Patrick McGowan. That's brilliant news, because you remember we spoke to some brilliant people, but unfortunately talking about a difficult thing that had tripped there. But that's been repaired now. So perhaps it was scheduled to be done, and it's been done. Congratulations. Perhaps you raising it on this programme is it expedited? Sped up. Let's just go with that. Sped up the process. If that was the case, well done to you guys as well for raising the issue publicly and maybe pushing things along. Okie doke, our next guest right up after the bingo numbers and a quick break.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 4th of May. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S8. It's game number 18. The numbers are 54, 41, 49, 26, 71, 20, 33, 31, 35, and finally 82. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com. Tune in this Thursday for all the latest farming news and views straight after the 5 p.m. news. Brought to you in association with Lifford Credit Union, who have recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call into any of their 3 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Lifford Credit Union, Rafo Newton Lifford, supporting local farmers.
Ellen, write what you want to be when you grow up on the blackboard.
Ellen, remember to sign up for the swim team.
Ellen, all competitors must register today.
Alan King has written the name into the history books by winning gold for Ireland! Ellen!
Nothing is written until you write it.
Ellen, can I have your autograph?
You write it, we underwrite it. Allianz, proudly supporting Paralympics Ireland since 2010.
By choosing Donegal Creamery's milk, you're supporting over 200 dairy farming families across Donegal in doing what they do best, producing delicious, fresh milk every day. For over 100 years, Donegal Creamery's milk has been brought to you daily from our dairy at Crossroads, Killygordon, the longest established creamery in the region. Support local farms, local families and local jobs by choosing Donegal Creamery's milk.
Are you ready for a role or a career with one of Ireland's leading food companies? Due to a further developed business base in Donegal, Glanbia are looking for a door-to-door milk agent to service the Ballybuffet, Stranorlar, Killygordon, Castlefin, Drumkeen and Glenfin areas. To apply for this exciting role, forward your CV to pburns@glanbia.ie. That's pbyrnes@glanbia.ie or call 087 2533 054.
All right, I want you to stay tuned to the programme, particularly the last hour. Business Matters, of course, is coming up with Kieran as always, but we've an exclusive interview for you just after the 11 o'clock news. So I want you to stick around for that. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a wee while, but it's an interesting one. It's an exclusive for you, so stay tuned. Right, now, Jim Mclaughlin joins us on the programme. Jim, good morning to you. Thanks for chatting to me.
Morning, Greg. Morning, dear listeners.
I think one of your opening statements in your contact with us, or what I have in front of me, is that farming is on its knees right across the board. Not an exaggeration, Jim.
No, definitely not. Greg, farming's at a very low ebb at the moment. The war in Ukraine hasn't helped much either. Like the supply of fertiliser and meal, even getting fertiliser and meal has become that. It's 3 and 4 times the price it was from last year. Like it's just become unaffordable, like farming in general.
What has surprised me in conversations with small, medium-sized farmers over the last couple of months is they're planning to operate differently next year, to reduce their outputs or to exit out of farming altogether. I'm only speaking to a handful. I don't know how representative that is right across the agriculture industry, but I think a lot of people might be thinking the same. Okay, it's a family business, it's a passion. But, there comes a point whereby you have to say, I need to be dedicating my time somewhere else.
Oh, for sure. Hey, you were saying there that farmers are going to diversify and get smaller and make massive decisions. Like even before this war and even before everything got so expensive, there was no young people coming behind. Like, I have nobody coming behind me to farm. Most farmers have no young people. There's no incentive because there's no money. There's no money to be made of it anymore. And my big fear is, like, I know the government has intervened yesterday, the Department of Agriculture, and they're going to give every farmer €1,000 towards making silage. And I honestly think that they should rethink that because they're putting 55 million aside for that, and that equates to 55,000 tonne of fertiliser. I think that they're better off doing a bit of sourcing and seeking to get 55,000 tonne of fertiliser. And give each farmer a voucher so that they have to buy the fertiliser.
And how would that be? Pardon my ignorance, Jim. How would that be better than the money for producing silage?
Well, I think if most people get £1,000 each, like the availability, the actual availability of fertiliser is not easy at the moment because the supply chains have been fragmented. Like I would like to see that 55 million being the whole lot being spent on fertiliser and grow the grass. Like some farmers will get that €1,000 and they'll just put it in their pocket. They're a bit peeved off with farming and they might even buy the fertiliser. Like next winter, like it's going to be a tough time. Come October, there's not going to be the same amount of silage. Meal for finishing cattle is going to be about €600 a tonne. Like my big fear is that if farmers try to hold on to the same numbers they have now, an animal welfare issue is imminent. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't heard that before.
There's a side of farming that very few people talk about, like as pig farming. The pig farmers are absolutely in dire straits. Like
they're in such a bad state that not only did they say that they need some government intervention, they wanted it done in a way that they would actually pay it back.
The pig farmers are absolutely, it's serious altogether what they've lost. They've hemorrhaged all the money they've made in the last 20 years. Like,
does it suit some, maybe Brussels even though, Jim, if this speeds up a lot of people exiting farming in this country, because they're doing it at a loss for the most part anyway. Other countries then can be supported in their farming. We can reduce our emissions potentially. I'm not saying any of that's a good thing, Jim, but I just wonder if this direction of traffic really suits a few agendas and who's going to be there to actually bat for the farmer.
I don't think there's going to be any. Well, there'll still be farmers there, like, but they'll not be the same numbers. Like
Yeah.
farming also, like, apart from the business activity of farming was a culture.
Yeah.
Like 90% of people there came from farming backgrounds. Like you Damon Ryan there now, demand the Green Party, he's proposing a ban on turf. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. I think. Like, I know there's smoke coming from turf, but you go to Mayo, Donegal, right down the west coast. Like, there's a lot of people. All they have is a range that burns turf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are they going to heat their houses? Like, it's scandalous.
I just wonder if you talk to a lot of farmers who were, say, 45 and had a son or a daughter that now were 15. I wonder how many of those farmers think there is any future in farming for their children. I would say very few, Jim.
I'd say 85% of them think there's no future in it.
Yeah. And that is the death knell. That's how things stop being the norm.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's sad. Like, but it's like, I know everything's a good price at the moment. Cattle and sheep and all are a good price on the live market. Like, and beef and lamb's a good price in the factories. Like, but the other big problem is you just don't want to see them getting too dear either, because the housewife will not buy it if it gets too dear. Like, it's a tricky situation. Like.
This texter says every farmer will not get €1,000. It's a maximum of 1,000, and they have to cut 25 acres to get it. It's helpful, but by the time you jump through all the hoops to get it, many won't even bother. They say, as a small farmer, I know I'll face a loss this year. And if a farmer's facing a loss this year, I think 2023 is going to be a write-off.
Well, that's exactly the point I was trying to make at the start. Rather than start to pick and choose farmers, just give every farmer a ton of fertiliser, give them no money. And if a ton of fertiliser was dropped off at every farm in Ireland, out of that 55 million, there will be progress made. Because the fertiliser will be used because it's there. The man that delivers it's getting a turn out of his lorry. The diesel companies will get a turn. It needs to be fertiliser, not money.
You also you've already mentioned the animal welfare issue, but the pressure that this is putting on farm families as well, trying to make ends meet, struggling to make ends meet, the pressure that has on people's mental well-being, on relationships, on the family in general. Jim, it's hard to quantify, but it's inevitable.
Oh, it's inevitable, surely. Like if a man goes out to his farm in the morning and has a good day and he's ploughing or cutting barley or he's calving cows, and he comes into the house in the evening happy, the whole house is happy. But if a man goes out and he knows he's losing money and he can't get the money gathered up to fix the tractor, or he can't get the money gathered up to pay the co-op or pay bills, he's coming into the house on the evening unhappy, so the whole house is unhappy. It's like, we're all human at the end of the day. Like that's pressure, it's serious pressure at the moment. Like,
do you be thinking about your future in farming, Jim?
I'm lucky. I'm the age I am. Hey, and my children are at a good age now. They're the youngest 16, the oldest 27. I enjoy it. Hey, I really enjoy it, and I know nothing else. But it's.
You're not maybe quite. I'm getting the impression you're not. There's less pressure on you. You're not quite as dependent on it as some others might be. You can.
Oh, geez, I am dependent
right.
on it. Like, I'm dependent on it, but there's more of a physical effort have to be planted, and you have to make good decisions. You have to think before you make decisions as well. Like, but I'm actually in the process of cutting down my numbers at the moment to be prepared for this winter.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from lots and lots of people. And you get.
Like, I don't want to be sitting with 20 cattle too many and not enough to feed them. And it's not right in the animal either, because the animal doesn't know what elements like or what things. Like, farmers in general, like whether it's pigs, sheep, hens, or farmers, like there's a serious bond there between the farmer and the animal. Like, so like, especially my end, I think sucker cow, I think calf and all.
Your line's beginning to fail, Jim. But I just one final question: like, what do you see the future as? You know, a small group of big farmers, and you know what's not produced that we need being imported. Is that the future of agriculture in Ireland?
Well, I think of the byproduct of agriculture, i.e. meat, lamb, pork, keeps getting expensive on the shelves of the supermarkets. People are going to turn to processed food and eat more cheap food,
which is not good. That's not good for our health. We know that. All right, Jim, listen, I hope things improve soon. I appreciate your insights and your information. Thank you very much for that. 086 60 25,000 if you wish to stick your comments on there alongside Jim's. Right, there's a response there from the NCBI, but I don't know what the question is. I'll dig that out. It might be something that was on when I wasn't here. Raymond says NATO deliberately provoked this Russian war in Ukraine, which is actually, excuse me, something the Pope, I keep quoting the Pope, but he also said something along those lines over the last couple of days. He says, this all started with the fall of the Soviet Union long ago, with NATO deliberately choosing not to turn a former enemy into a friend and instead kept Russia as an enemy because the NATO generals needed an enemy so as to protect their very jobs. Look, there's plenty of enemies around the world. The Warsaw Pact disbanded, but NATO did not, likewise, as a sign of goodwill and peace for the future. But there's more enemies, as I say, that could threaten the West in inverted commas than Russia. I mean, you know, the relationship with China is delicate. North Korea is where I'd be looking at if I was going to start worrying about, the ultimate. But anyway. Right, 086 60 25,000. We'll play a piece of music after this ad break. If you want to request play, get it into us now on those numbers.
For a great early season lawnmower deal, visit Gartley Sales and Hire. Exclusive stockists of Stiga in the Northwest. Mowers, trimmers and hedge trimmers. Full trade and service available at Gartley Sales and Hire, Gartley, Letterkenny. Call 9126276.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Your football destination store. If you belong on pitch, try a new pair of Adidas Predator Edge football boots. Available in kids and adult sizes. Complete your kit with a pair of Murphy's gloves. Available in many colours and sizes. Update your O'Neill shorts and socks with the all-important Gum Shield. Then you're ready to compete. Look the part, play the part. In store, online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
They say you should have your second baby first, because with your second baby, you'll have learned what to do, what not to do, what's best for baby and best for you. Like the Loopy Loo range from Lidl. Everything your baby needs, including award-winning nappies from only 99 cent. When you know what to do, Loopy Loo. Available exclusively at Lidl. More for you. See our full range at lidl.ie/Loopy Loo.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €8 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Arriva Winchaga's joint programme are hosting a dairy walk on the farm of Robin Stevenson, Clough, Killygordon, this Thursday the 5th at 11 a.m. All welcome.
This Sunday afternoon, as part of a huge doubleheader at Clones, the Donegal senior ladies begin their quest for an Ulster title against Cavan. Join us on Highland for full live match commentary on air from the 1:45 throw-in and online at highlandradio.com. Coverage of the Donegal senior ladies in the Ulster Championship is in association with Henry McGinley and Sons Limited, Milford, Donegal, specialising in structural steelwork, cladding and PVC roof systems. Call for a quote on 074 9153 181.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
Okay, that is Amy Winehouse there. And Rehab. Okay, 0866 25,000. He WhatsApps and texts to that number. Right. Kieran Martin is the Senior Economic Development Officer, Business Concierge with Donegal County Council. Good morning to you, Kieran.
Morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Okay, right. We covered this last year, I think, about our a study into, the future of caravanning, camping, camper vans, motorhomes, that sector in Donegal, how we'd accommodate them, how we do it, that it's advantageous to those wishing to visit or travel within the county, and those that sort of live around where they might pull in and park. So do we have the findings of that KPMG report now?
Yeah, we do, Greg. I suppose just to reiterate that in 2021, Donegal County Council, in partnership with KPMG Future Analytics, would have undertaken the study of the camping caravanning sector within the county. I suppose it would have provided a number of recommendations for the future sustainable development of the sector. So it would have, I suppose, give a detailed overview of the sector in Donegal with an assessment of the opportunities and threats and an assessment of good practices. And we would have actually had huge engagement from the public on this. On the public online survey, we would have had approximately 1,800 responses. Working with service providers, we had 61 responses. And with the camper van user survey, we had 1,200 responses. So
that's impressive.
I suppose, yeah, and from that there, I suppose now that, we obviously, determined that there's been an increase in the number of visitors over the last number of years, but that has led to increased pressures in certain locations within the county. So,
well, there's a couple of things going on here, isn't there? Because there are those that have invested heavily in providing parks that people can pull in and access services and all of that. And then obviously, because of the nature of it, some of the parking can be a little bit ad hoc. They'll park anywhere and you can put services there and they won't pay for them and they choose to do that. And then there are others that want to stay in different parts of Donegal, but we don't have the facilities there for them. It's a case of sort of merging and marrying all of that and providing the best experience with the least inconvenience, I presume, for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what we're looking to do here, Greg, is to have a kind of blended accommodation experience for everybody. I mean, I suppose one of the key recommendations that came out of the study was that there wasn't enough overnight accommodation in certain locations within the county. So therefore, they would have recommended the development of this grant scheme, which is what we're kind of rolling out now, in terms of supporting the private sector to increase the provision of services for people in those areas. Yeah.
So what is this new grant scheme all about, and why is it directed at local businesses and not sort of to the general public that might have some spaces available?
Well, it's a good question, Greg. I suppose to take the first part, what is the scheme about? I suppose, as I said, the study identified that in certain areas within the county there wasn't enough overnight accommodation, so we were getting that issue of people parking up ad hoc and perhaps not parking in locations that are most suitable for the environment around the county. So we do know obviously the White Atlantic Way and the staycation sector has increased the number of people coming here, but there wasn't seen to be enough suitable and safe accommodation in particular areas. In terms of who it's targeted at, it is initially targeted at the private sector with this initial call here. So that'll be
the
run
business
up
sector,
until,
you mean, or the private?
Sorry, the business sector up until May 30th. But after that, in June, we are then having an open call to the voluntary sector, because we do realise that there's a lot of community centres around here. There's a lot of GAA clubs. There's a lot of football clubs. There's a lot of other facilities that could also fill this gap. So we would be keen to obviously provide them with a commercial opportunity as well, so that we are having that best blended opportunity for accommodation around the county.
Now, say for instance I were a local GAA club and I had a strip of land and I could accommodate what about planning? Is there a planning process still has to be gone through, or because these are mobile units, there's no need for that?
No, generally they do all require planning, and we would be asking anybody to get in contact with our planning section just to determine their own project requirements. There are various planning clinics that will be happening during the week. If people contact us, Greg, on 07491722282. We can advise on those planning clinics. But in general, yes, these projects will need planning. Some have already been granted planning, some are in the process, and some are just initially developing their ideas. But planning will be certainly a requirement, and we won't be able to obviously
financially support unless the planning's in place. Now,
planning.
Is there certain standards that, like, in other words, what wouldn't be unusual is maybe a concrete plinth where one could pull up on, access to disposal of wastewater, maybe access to fresh water and electricity. Like, are there basics that have to be provided to qualify for this grant scheme?
Well, we will be judging every application on its individual merits. One of the requirements, I suppose, we have, Greg, is, that there won't be displacement. Obviously, that would be a key one. We will be meeting the applicants in advance of any final decisions to see what their plans are. I mean, in terms of what can be funded, we are looking at issues such as, signage, site markings, site improvements, groundworks for new spaces, black and grey water disposal, charging points and lighting. So we would be envisaging that the accommodation will have those. There will have to be a minimum of 4 additional spaces. It must be geared towards, I suppose, one-night stopovers being allowed also. So we are trying to make sure that we do deliver the best blended opportunity. So when people come to the county, they have an opportunity to determine what kind of accommodation they want to use.
Yeah, there's a bit of a misnomer out there too that this isn't a benefit to the economy, and you can speak to those involved in caravanning and camping and their groups that represent them. They go into an area that right, maybe there might not be an accommodation lift, but they do spend heavily in local bars and restaurants and shops and what have you. So this has the potential for us to be a welcoming county for these customers, this clientele, but it reaps benefits financially for and it's particularly maybe areas that don't necessarily see a high footfall of tourists. It's a financial benefit there as well.
No, that's certainly something that we want to get across, is that this is an opportunity for the county. We have, a wonderful tourism product. It's just now about marketing it to people and making sure that people can avail of the opportunity. We would know from anecdotal conversations and through the feedback with the survey that businesses are availing of the opportunities, and businesses do regard the sector as something that can be very profitable for them. We're also developing a code of conduct for the sector in terms of trying to get them to engage with local businesses and to immerse themselves in the community while they're here, visiting shops, bars, restaurants and service providers. So we are working with groups like Total Camp in Ireland, Motorhome Ireland, Donegal Camping and Caravan Parks Association. So we're trying to bring everybody along with us and to make them realise the opportunities that are here.
And it's a 50% max grant up till how much?
The minimum applications we're looking at, Greg, are €5,000 with a maximum of €20,000. Okay. In exceptional circumstances, we can look outside of those limits, but yes, and funded at 50% of the cost.
And all planning, the normal planning rules apply. So if people in a local area go, right, okay, I can see the benefits, but I have a problem with this, the normal planning procedures will be followed, obviously, as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's critical. We have an internal working group working on this kind of the recommendations as well, Greg. So we have our planning colleagues advising our roads colleagues, our environmental colleagues. So it's just trying to make sure that we're all singing from the one hymn sheet. Okay. And certainly, we won't be able to pay out without any, planning in place.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Listen, thanks. Do you have a motorhome, Kieran?
I don't, unfortunately.
Is it on the bucket list? Is it a wish list?
I see there's certainly plenty of them around the county at the moment, but unfortunately I'm a public sector employee and I'm not no sort of wages.
But you're also you're entitled to a midlife crisis like me, which you need camper vans and go fishing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good man. We'll hope to get you a pay rise, Kieran, and make your dreams come true. All right, Kieran, thanks very much for that. Kieran Martin, Senior Economic Development Officer, Business Concierge with Donegal County Council. Now, as I mentioned, we have an exclusive interview for you at 11 o'clock, and I can exclusively reveal to you now that it was with Joe McHugh, former Education Minister, current Fine Gael TD. He is not going to be contesting the next general election. He is not seeking a nomination for his party to run in the next general election. It doesn't come as a huge surprise to me. I've asked him the question a couple of times because I kind of was wondering what the answer might be, and he was non-committal at that point. But I can reveal, or we can reveal to you now, that he is not contesting the next general election, which, for anyone with an interest in politics, throws up a real interesting sort of set of events. Obviously, it's a long time, decades, over half a century, maybe 70 years since Fine Gael in that area was represented at a cabinet, I believe, and Joe McHugh had done that. And also the question is, well, who would step in to replace Joe McHugh in that area? Who would be the candidates? We're not going to be asking him. I will ask him that, but he probably won't be able to answer that question for you. So if you want to hear the reasons why, and I understand a lot of it's to do with wanting to spend time with his young family, but if you want to hear the reasons why, and as much as he might answer, stay tuned. After 11 o'clock, we have that exclusive interview with former Minister Joe McHugh, current TD. He is not, I can reveal, he is not contesting the next general election. Okay, that's a wee exclusive for you, and we'll have all the details of that for you at 11 o'clock. But just to reiterate, Joe McHugh has confirmed to Highland Radio News that he will not be contesting the next general election. Okay, we'll be back with more, including that exclusive interview after these.
The Sky Spring Sale is here. Get Sky Q with the TV you love all in one place. And super reliable Sky broadband so you can always stay connected. Plus, choose from Sky Sports or Sky Cinema. All for just €60 a month for 12 months. Don't miss this amazing offer. Just search Sky Spring Sale. Availability subject to location. New Sky customers only. Minimum term and further terms apply. For more information, see sky.ie/speeds.
They say you should have your second baby first, because with your second baby, you'll have learned what to do, what not to do, what's best for baby and best for you. Like the Loopy Loo range from Lidl. Everything your baby needs, including award-winning nappies from only 99 cent. When you know what to do, Loopy Loo. Available exclusively at Lidl. More for you. See our full range at lidl.ie/Loopy Loo.
COVID-19 booster vaccines now available for over 65s and all eligible patients in your local Healthwise pharmacy. Appointments now available. Please ask in-store or complete an online form at healthwisepharmacies.ie. COVID-19 booster vaccines are the best way to stay protected against COVID-19 and are recommended by our pharmacists. Healthwise Pharmacies, caring for your community.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'd be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'd be them. 07491 43942.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Now flying to 19 destinations this summer with 7 days car parking from just €30 when you book online. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
Okie doke. A cloudy start today with scattered patches of light rain and drizzle. However, it will become drier and brighter in the afternoon with sunny spells developing, feeling humid with highs of 13 to 15 degrees in a light to moderate northwesterly breeze. Okay, as you may have been hearing, things may be about to change in the United States as it relates to the availability of abortion. Larry Donnelly is a Boston attorney and law lecturer at NUI Galway, and he joins us now to try and help explain this to us. Good morning, Larry.
Great to be with you.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, so talk to us about Roe versus Wade, why it was being scrutinised, and how is it so important that it could bring into question access to abortion, same-sex marriage, even mixed-race marriages potentially?
Well, Roe versus Wade, as most people will know, is the United States Supreme Court decision from 1973, which effectively held that there's a constitutional right to privacy. That is, a constitutional right to privacy, and that right to privacy extends to allow a woman to have an abortion with certain restrictions. Roe versus Wade set out a framework that a state could not impose any restrictions on abortion in the first 24 weeks of pregnancy. Now, the reason this came before the court was in recent years, states, particularly in the South, have been pushing more and more abortion restrictions. So Mississippi enacted a law which would have banned abortion after 15 weeks, clearly against the Roe versus Wade decision. That was immediately challenged in court, and it was injuncted. However, the state appealed it all the way to the Supreme Court. Hence, the issue is before the Supreme Court. There was a hearing last year, and now what we have is a draft decision that extraordinarily has been leaked, and now we see what's going on within the court. So if this decision is the final decision, effectively Roe versus Wade will be consigned to the history books, and individual states will then legislate as to whether they want to have abortion or not. Some people are saying that this could cause, jeopardize other rights. You mentioned some of those. The one thing I would say about that is it may jeopardize them in the sense that they will no longer be constitutional rights. However, that does not mean, again, that individual states can make their own laws on a whole range of these different issues. So it's a complicated situation.
But obviously it has triggered a really strong reaction. People who would be in favour of this and those that might be against it coming out, protesting. I suspect maybe whomever leaked it, that's precisely what they wanted. They wanted this out into the open so that it would become a political issue. Obviously, there's elections coming up in America, midterms later this year, and also, get that public debate going. This has never happened before. How difficult might it be to determine who leaked this and their motivations for doing so?
Well, the important thing to say is that I know it's been reported that it's never happened before. It actually has happened before on numerous occasions, particularly in the 19th century. But in this instance, I mean, this is probably the most momentous leak in American history. Now, chances are, a lot of people on the right are saying that this is somebody on the left who's committed to Roe versus Wade being enshrined, who also is concerned about the Democratic Party potentially getting a bloodbath in the midterm elections, that it's likely a left-leaning clerk to one of the judges on the court. Now, that's a suspicion among many on the right. I tend to think that suspicion actually makes a lot of sense given the context that we're working in. But clearly, the leak will draw huge scrutiny onto the issue of abortion. And indeed, things were looking very bad for Democrats ahead of the midterms. This undeniably will galvanize lots of Democrats who, again, would fear any erosion of abortion rights in the U.S., and perhaps some Democrats might look at it as a chance to, I suppose, make the midterms a little bit less painful than they might otherwise have looked.
What does this mean broadly? Because I understand in terms of the states, the individual states, it's like kind of 50-50 in their attitude towards abortion. I think it's sort of like 60-40 across the general public. But there's a sizable amount, almost that 50-50 again, that are in a disagreement with the other 50%. Is this broadly more indicative of the fact that we really can't agree on anything anymore, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, I think, much has been made of the division in the United States, and I think that's true. What you're ultimately going to have is a patchwork quilt, if Roe is indeed overturned, a patchwork quilt of laws around the country with respect to abortion. I should say very quickly, there's an important point here. Pro-life or anti-abortion advocates in the United States have long been making, albeit from a very different perspective and against a very different landscape, they've been making the very same argument that the Repeal the Eighth activists were making here in Ireland. That is, take abortion out of the Constitution, take abortion away from judges, and make it a political issue. It will be interesting to see both how abortion foes and pro-choice activists rededicate their efforts. Pro-choice activists really have to take their efforts to the political realm. And as you say, Greg, the reality is the majority of people do want to see Roe stay. They do want the right to abortion. It's, there's different restrictions, et cetera. But with that audience, pro-choice activists should be able to drive debate on this. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
All right, Larry, thanks as always for your informed insight. It's very much appreciated. Larry Donnelly, Boston attorney and law lecturer at NUI Galway. Heading towards news at 11, coming up after 11, we'll have, fingers crossed, that interview with Joe McHugh, Deputy Joe McHugh, who's announced, we kind of revealed, I suppose you could say, that he will not be contesting the next general election. and he'll be outlining the reasons why. On the face of it, of course, a father of a young family, I presume he's achieved an awful lot in politics, and perhaps now's the time for him to be able to enjoy his family life a bit more, but maybe there's more to it. We'll try and tease that out with him. For those farmers in our area, the Corncrake Life have incentives and schemes to support farming for nature. Check out the website, corncrakelife.ie. Hi, Greg. Just wanted to say it was great to hear Vinny and Mark on yesterday's show, raising awareness of cystic fibrosis. Wishing Vinny all the best of luck for his event on Friday. Great calls. Well done, boys. They were great. And according to Vinny, Mark is not a big public speaker. Well, he knocked it out of the park yesterday, which I'm delighted. If you want to rewatch that interview, by the way, go onto my Facebook page, Greg Hughes, and it's there for you to see. And it's also a positive one. For those of you who didn't tune in, Mark got on new tablet, he got on new drugs over the last 8 months, and he's been blown away by how it has improved his life. His lung capacity went from around about 50%, or was it 45%, up to 85%. He's back able to play a bit of football and also play a bit of golf on Friday as well. I think even the success of this treatment for him has surprised him. So it was nice to be speaking about raising awareness for Cystic Fibrosis Ireland in the context of someone who was on a new treatment, and that had worked well for them. Right, okay, let us take a break. We'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show in just a couple of moments.
Wet and Wild. Wet and Wild is your one-stop shop for adventure travel, stocking all the leading brands of sandals, swimwear, sunglasses, buoyancy aids, backpacks, dry bags, child carriers, midge and mosquito repellents, first aid kits, UV protection, money wallets and waterproof phone covers. Keep you and your family safe on holiday this summer with a visit to Wet and Wild.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress protectors and all kitchen textiles are still half price. But when all our half-price mattress protectors and all our half-price kitchen textiles are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
If you are 65 or over, or you have a weak immune system, you can now get your second COVID-19 booster vaccine. Your vaccine is due 4 months after your last vaccine. It will improve your protection from COVID-19. You can book a vaccination centre appointment on hsc.ie or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. For more information on your second booster or to book an appointment, visit hsc.ie or call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 from the HSE for us all.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team at BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177 955.
Okay, keeping the entertainment coming for you throughout the afternoon here in Highland Radio around the Northwest. It's broadcasting live today from Letterkenny's Main Street from 12 noon to 2:30 p.m. with John Bresson, of course. It's in advance of the EirGrid Energy Citizens Roadshow, It's taking place later today at the Clannery Hotel in Letterkenny, and tomorrow it moves south to Donegal Town at the Abbey Hotel. The roadshow events will provide information about Donegal's energy future-proofing the grid in the Northwest, and details about home energy efficiency upgrades and grants. So a bit of info for you, but the usual mix of brilliant music from John and conversation. You're invited to the Wellness Cafe's Peer Appreciation Day. It's taking place on the 5th of May, that's tomorrow, at Grianon Theatre, Letterkenny. It runs from 10:30am to 12pm. It's a day to celebrate the Donegal Wellness Cafes and their peers. Breakfast and lunch will be provided on the day, with mental health information stands on a variety of topics. Music and crack also provided. So get along, if you can, in Letterkenny to that tomorrow between 10:30am and 12pm. Hopefully if the Highland on in the background. Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Coming up for you shortly, that exclusive interview with Joe McHugh as he explains why he's announcing today he is not going to contest the next general election. But first, it is time for a news update, and we say good morning to Mchale Clark. Hi, Mchale.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Well, as you heard, Donegal Deputy Joe McHugh has announced that he will not be contesting the next general election. The Fine Gael TD says he has taken the decision to focus on family life after a significant period of reflection and much consideration. During his time as TD, Deputy McHugh served as Government Chief Whip and Minister for Education and Skills. Minister Anne Rabbitte has called for an independent review of adult safeguarding in long-term residential care settings in Donegal. A report published by HIQA last week following inspections at 18 HSE-run centres in the county found major issues around governance and oversight. Concerns were also raised over the HSE's ability at a national level to bring about improvements, warning that failing to do so could result in a significant safeguarding issue. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Tony Houlihan has said he isn't annoyed at the Department of Health over the handling of his proposed secondment to Trinity College. Dr. Houlihan said he decided to pull out of the role following political controversy about it. The European Commission President has called for a ban on Russian oil imports following the invasion of Ukraine. Ursula von der Leyen outlined a sixth package of sanctions on Moscow designed to hurt its economy. All 27 member states need to approve the measure. The Finance Committee will today undertake detailed pre-legislative scrutiny of Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty's Judicial Council Amendment Bill. The legislation would require the insurance industry to provide information to the central bank outlining how the cost of claims has reduced as a result of the new personal injuries guidelines. The Cathaoirleach of the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District is urging the council to carry out a review of how small repair works on footpaths are dealt with. It comes as latest figures show claims totalling €364,000 for trips and falls was paid out by the council in the final quarter of last year. And a burst water main is affecting parts of Rathmullen. Irish Water say repairs may cause supply disruptions. Works are due to be completed by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
This is your guide to smart glasses. Smart glasses often look like regular glasses, and some of them have built-in cameras. Even if you don't wear smart glasses, it's helpful to know what it looks like when someone who is wearing them is taking a photo or video. One way someone can activate their camera is by tapping the capture button on the frame. Another way is by using a voice command, like
take a photo.
So now you know a bit more about smart glasses.
A message from Meta and Essilor Luxottica.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. And we welcome onto the programme now, as we mentioned, Deputy Joe McHugh. Good morning to you, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg, and thanks for facilitating this at short notice.
How are you feeling?
I think there's an anxiety when you're trying to get the message out to party workers, party supporters, personal supporters, and trying to, manage the communication side. So there's a bit of anxiousness around that. But how am I feeling? I'm very content with the decision I've made, Greg, and it's that decision has been brewing now for quite a while, to be honest.
Yeah, and I kind of asked you the question a couple of times, and you kept your cards close to your chest, and rightly so, because you're an individual, you're a person, and you're a family man, and that's your right, of course. You talked about it being in the offing for a while. When did you start sort of saying that maybe I've given as much to politics as I want to for now?
I think COVID, as people say, COVID changed everything, and I suppose bringing it down to my personal level and family level, I started to realise and appreciate through COVID spending day after day with my family and being with the kids, and whether it's putting in the hens at night or putting them out in the morning and feeding them and just being there with them. I just realised how much I missed out, Greg. Look, I am conscious that many parents are away a good bit, and everybody has their own reasons for doing things, but 6 years in the ministries were very, very intense, and I just realised how much I missed, and I just want to be with them more, and that's the reason why I made this decision. I know I still have 2 years left in this term, which I'll continue to work at and serve the mandate that I was given by the people of Donegal. But I will not be looking for the nomination for the next general.
Yeah, and I can understand why you would want to give such advance notice and get it out there, because there's planning and other things that have to be put in place. But then again, you've got this 2-year lead in. You want to spend time with your family and all. Like, it's going to be hard, is it, to keep the head down, to motivate yourself? I know I would find it difficult, so it's not a slight on you. I'm just speaking like how I might feel.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think even the last few weeks, things have gone back to not the same as what would have happened before. I mean, my life was very much leaving. You could be leaving on a Monday, heading to Dublin and back on a Friday, and then you might be home late on a Friday night, and you could be away early on a Saturday morning, and you might be gone again the following week. So, and I don't think that, people, since COVID, people have, they're looking at things differently, and I'm able to manage my time differently now. Yes, look, I still have to go to my district meetings. I was in Glenties 2 weeks ago. I was in Donegal Town last Thursday night. We were in Fun Valley the week before that. So I'm still going to do that, but it's about managing my time better. But it's also knowing that there is an end game here, and the end game will be in 2 years' time.
Do you feel as well, was this part of it, that in a way, you've held a really high office in Minister, you've held a really high office within the party as Chief Whip. I'm not sure if you had any realistic aspirations to being the party leader. I mean, is there a sense that you feel that you've achieved everything that you possibly wanted to, or maybe could achieve in politics, and you just couldn't contend yourself for another 30 years on the backbenches?
Well, look, I've had a good run. As a couple of people members of the party rang me this morning after they received their letters, and while people were, maybe some of them that did ring me were shocked, that there is an understanding as to why I made this decision, but also there is an appreciation for what I've given. People know how hard I work, and that is something that I'll absolutely never regret, and I'll never ever forget, and I'll always be grateful for every single individual that helped me on my journey. And look, I suppose, like, calling a spade, my motivation the whole time was for my county and for my constituents, and like any other politician in the country. And I always used the positions, and while I was a national politician as Chief Whip or Minister for Education, I think people will know that I use those positions in the best interest of the country, but also in order to make up for deficits in my own county. So I've no regrets, Greg. I'm very grateful for everybody, within the party and outside the party that have supported me over the years. And I know there's still work to do. There's always work to do in politics. There's never a finished game. But one thing that I will be continuing very, very closely with is the MICA issue. So I'm looking forward to that coming before Cabinet in a few weeks.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a wee bit more in a standalone way, if that's okay, Joe. Yeah. And I say that with respect. In terms of in public office now, I think more so than anywhere, there's an awful lot of criticism. You're called out, even in your own community, walking down your local village, there might be someone might shout. It probably never happened, but maybe someone looks at you to say, oh, there he is, look at him, and blah, 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 blah. Does that wear on you? How do you deal with that? Has that formed any part of this decision?
I think the danger in politics at the moment, Greg, is that there is a perception that it's a really tough game, and it's a hard game, and there's a lot of abuse and all that. But you mentioned local. Like, I'm involved with Francie McHugh in the under-13 Downings team, and with WhatsApp groups of parents. I'm involved in the Glenree WhatsApp group, and I'm involved in the under-15 WhatsApp group. I'm involved in all these WhatsApp. There's 100 parents straight away, and like, there's never any abuse. There's never any ill feeling or nothing. Like, people when they're in bother politically and they have a point to say, they're entitled to say it. And maybe in time you harden as a politician, as an individual. But my message would be this, that it's not it's not all bad out there. I mean, real hard going is being Katie Taylor in a ring in the 6th round, and
fifth round.
Your knees. That's real hard work.
That was the 5th round, but I take you. It was 3 o'clock in the morning,
Well, I only watched the highlights, but I mean that is real hard work.
I know what you're on about. That there's an awful lot of people have it an awful lot more difficult than a politician might.
Yeah, and my point being is, I'm moving on now in a couple of years' time, and I would always encourage people to get involved and put their name forward. And the only message I would give to people who are newly thinking of getting into politics, they need to be given enough run-in time. And it's one of the mistakes we made in successive elections. We got candidates in too late, and it didn't give them time to get their name out there. That'd be the only lesson that I would mention.
I mean this with respect, but you may have struggled to get in the next time with everything that's going on. You might feel that you wouldn't have, you would have sailed it. I don't know. Did the prospect of a tough campaign, and it would have been a tough campaign, possibly even having to stand against MIQA campaigners in the next general election, and how that may have played out for you and your family as well, that you have to consider, and the party as a whole, did that fact come in as part of any of your decision-making process?
No, it didn't, to be honest, Greg. Like every election, I've stood in six elections, and I've been successful in 6 elections. And each one of those elections, there would have been people saying that McHugh will not make it, and now that's not going to happen for him. And there's always that. So it's not a good enough reason to stand in an election to decide whether you get elected or not. But to be honest, from the amount of work we're doing through our office at the moment, and me being back on the ground and not being a minister, I'm finding myself more engaged with people and meeting people, and I feel I have more time for people. And politics is not going to change in thousands of years' time. That people want to see their local representative. They want to know they're there. And if there was an election where I could point out that I'd be confident winning, I certainly would be. If I stood in the next election, it'd be one of the ones I would be more confident about winning.
You talked about the MIQA issue being a test. I think it was you. You said it to us on this programme, a test of between sort of maybe the power of elected government and the permanent government. Yeah. I just wonder, through all of this, and from what you've seen, behind the curtain that we don't see, have you lost any faith in politics? That elected politics, has there been any frustration? Has that fed into maybe part of this process?
No, it's funny. I was a youth worker prior to politics, and I was always the guy knocking at the establishment and knocking the door and saying they're not looking after young people and they're not looking after communities. But once you get into politics, you get an insight out into how things work. And I suppose that in a nutshell, it's about relationships. It's building relationships. And you mentioned MIQA. The 2 most important relationships I have on the MIQA issue is the MIQA Action Group, which I work hand in glove with. And there are good officials in the Department of Environment. You're right in saying, I pointed out that there are officials who make it hard within the Department of Public Expenditure. But I've met so many good people within those departments that they want, people like John O'Connor, who's working closely with the group, they want to make it work as well. So in time in politics, and that's why it's important that people don't just dip in and dip out of politics. If you want to deliver for your constituency, you need to build those relationships and earn that trust in order to deliver for your own constituency.
As much as you're comfortable in talking about, I understand that maybe you've faced some health challenges over the last couple of years. As I say, I'm not going to ask any questions. I don't know, to be honest, because I don't really involve myself in people's personal stuff, really. I don't mind the politics, but outside of that, everyone is a normal person doing their own normal thing. But has there been an issue there, and how are you?
I'm 100%. I'm fitter now than I have been in a long number of years, and that's probably because I'm maybe eating regularly and getting more sleep and not running around like an idiot as I did for many decades. But in fairness, can I just say this, Greg? Like you and your team there, while I was going through my health scare this time last year, or around February time, March of last year, you respected that. You respected those boundaries, and I've always said that I wouldn't talk publicly about it, but I have thought about it, and I think if I can get a message out that maybe might help one other man, I'm going to do it today, Greg. And I'm going to say this briefly. I spent I spent a week in Letterkenny Hospital with septicemia, and following that, I had a prostatectomy done in Dublin, and I think it was because I was out of the Ministry for Education that I decided to get my health checked out, and I did my PSA. And in doing that, I was given a heads up, an early detection of a problem with my prostate, and I got it done. Like many men that's got it done, I know in our own county a lot of men have come out publicly on it, and fair play to them. And I'll just say this: once a year for men, just once a year, do a checkup. Just check your PSA. I'm on the other side of 50 now. If you're over 50 or in around that, just do the 1 year checkup. And if there's men listening today that they're wondering about this or wondering about going to the toilet too much or they have a wee issue there, just go to their GP and just get a check out. And I'm taking that opportunity, Greg, to do it today because and
it's important. Everyone's different, and everyone does it when it's the right time for them to talk about it, because it's your own personal stuff. And I think it's a good message, and we should also listen to it. Do things like that, scares like that, and there's a period of time probably before you're told these things are already, that everything flashes through your head. What's the future? What could happen? Did you reevaluate a bit around about that time too, Joe?
Look, when you're lying in a bed horizontal, looking up at the ceiling, you reassess everything, you reevaluate everything, Greg, and that this I suppose decision has been gestating now for quite a period. But the important thing is to get the message that our healthcare system, and while obviously there's so many faults within it as well, robotic surgery, and to think that for 4 hours there was a consultant sitting at a computer with his back to me on the operating table, basically doing a robotic surgery, and it's just so it's miracle territory in many ways. But it's really, really important that the recovery, and I know women are good at getting the message out there and getting the message out about early prevention and getting early tests and recovery is so important. And years ago, when surgery was done for prostate, a lot of men would have had bad experiences, and maybe that's why they don't talk about it. But it's robotic surgery now. It's very sophisticated surgery, and there's nothing to be afraid about. And you will recover. And certainly, as I said at the beginning, Greg, my health has never been in a better place. In fact, I'm trying to get John Breslin to get the Highland Radio team going there again. I'm mad to get on the pitch again. Okay,
well, I'm not sure about that. Maybe he could be a manager or something. I don't know. I think you count Leo Varadkar, obviously he's the party leader, but as a friend. When did you tell him? What did you tell him? Did he try and change your mind?
I told him, I suppose, the week before. I had to tell him because he was in America last week, so I timed it that I wanted to meet him personally before he went to the States. No, he didn't. In fairness, he didn't try to change my mind. He respected it, and look, he acknowledged the fact that we are not just politically close, but we're also with a personal friendship there as well. And look, Leo's a serious guy, and out of respect for him, I want to give the party that 2 years, and look, we will identify a candidate, and we've good time to do that.
And he's up here on Friday. You can't tell me that's a coincidence.
Well, no, I mean, I suppose...
Hold on you a second. Right, okay. You make this big announcement on Wednesday, right? Yeah. There's the party locally might be going, what's going on here? He's got other business up here, I'm sure, but it can't be a complete coincidence.
Well, look, I mean... there's a development report the party's been working on to set out a strategy for the next 2 years, and I didn't want to be sitting at the top table with Leo saying that I was going to be part of that particular strategy. So it's out of honesty to the membership and being honest with Leo. So at least now there's a blank page for them to start working on that.
I think it would be incredibly unfair, especially it would be different maybe if you weren't still a TD, to ask you about who might replace you. So I'll keep it general. Are you confident? That the 2 years is long enough for a candidate to be sort of identified, maybe raise their profile if necessary, and to successfully contest your seat?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's ambition in our organisation, and that has been the total message from right through the work that we've been doing this last 3 years. And look, there's ambition, and there's ambitious councillors. Martin Harley, was on the ticket with me the last general elections. The last general election, there's experience there. Martin's very much a team player. Jimmy Kavanagh, situated in the largest town in the county, and Barry Sweeney could come into the equation if the constituency boundaries are redrawn.
Three fellas.
And well, I'm just talking about the councillors. Unfortunately, we ran four female candidates in the council and they didn't get elected. And Johnny McGuinness is making Johnny's very experienced through family in politics, and he's very articulate, and he will be a person as well within the organisation that'll mark that ambition. But look, there's going to be potential council candidates. There's going to be openings in different electoral areas, and let's see what will happen over the next 2 years.
What has been the highlight of your political career?
After putting the children to bed on a Friday night, 2 missed calls and Leo asking me to become Minister for Education, I couldn't believe it. I think it's the only time I got anyway emotional when I got something in politics, and I just felt so good about that, and I wanted to do so much in it, and I was glad that he put his faith in me.
If you had to pick a low point,
look, when I think back to the post-recession years, or not even post-recession, during this recession, 11, 12, 13, 14, I think the low point was, us coming into government in 2011 and being, paralysed to an extent that everything that was thrown at us at an official level was, well, look, this is what the IMF says, this is what the Troika is saying, and you have to balance your books. And I'll never forget the pain that taking 30 billion euro out of an economy over a very short couple of years inflicts on people, and that hurt people. And look, I was part of a government that tried to get the economy. We eventually got the economy back on track again, but a lot of people, have difficult times along the way, and it wasn't nice seeing that and meeting people and trying to explain that to people when people were really, really struggling, and 90,000 young people emigrating and all that. Like it's very hard to be part of that and not being able to do something at that given time.
And we'll talk about the Micah situation now. And in your statement, it's front and centre that you're going to be committed to doing as much as you can over the next 2 years. And I presume you'll have influence afterwards, and you can exercise that. It's devastating. And once, even in 2 years' time, I'm not sure how much progress we're going to have made for a number of reasons, and how many more people might be affected by this. It is almost beyond words what families and businesses and everyone's facing across Donegal and beyond. What can be done? What needs to be done in your view?
I think the first thing needs to be done now is get the memo to Cabinet, and that's going to be ready in a few weeks. I spoke to Darragh Bryan last week about that. And the legislation has to be robust enough to cater for all the individual hard cases. There's so many hard cases, and you will have got insights on your own radio show there. But it's important that legislation is completed before the Dáil rises this summer. And then implementation. We have to see the work starting. We have to see the work on the ground. And I know it's a background of constraints and labour supply, cost materials, but all that being said, there's still people building houses on an individual basis against those constraints as well. So we have to figure a way to try to fast track it. And look, it's very difficult for somebody now who's sitting in their kitchen today, maybe listening to this, or looking at a cracked wall and trying to figure out children going to college or teenagers going to college and looking at money, or maybe looking at their first holiday. It's the worst of the worst situation. And as somebody explained to me recently, she said, Joe, like we were looking at our life. People look at life in steps, and the mortgage been cleared, children going to college, things easing off, and it's like starting out back a few steps, and that's just so hard.
Obviously everyone's different, but a lot of TDs, they're the front of it. It's almost like an organisation or a business. I don't know how to describe it, but there's you there, right? But There's those that support you. There's those in your local area that you might fall out with from time to time, but they remain loyal to you when push comes to shove. There's confidants, and I'm sure, and I'm thinking on the late Bernard McGuinness that are no longer with us, but there's an awful lot of people it takes to get someone elected, to support them in that position, and to support them, whilst they're in that position. You'd have a lot of those people in your life too, I'm sure, Joe.
Yeah, and far too many. I'm not going to name them, but I'm glad you mentioned the late Bernard McGuinness, because Bernard was very much part of the one candidate strategy in 2007, and I don't know, about maybe an hour and a half from Malin and Culdaff from Carrigart, and to top the poll in Culdaff and Malin in that election. It was just, it's something that still shocks me, but obviously that was the intervention of Bernard. But there's been so many people from within Fine Gael, established Fine Gael, new Fine Gael, and then non-Fine Gael, and the people who would meet me in the doorstep saying, Joe, I'm giving you the vote, but I'm not giving Fine Gael the vote. And that's the personal connection. And I value that. I'll always be grateful, because by being in politics, it's given me opportunities that I never would have got. And it's given me an insight into human behavior, the human condition, and the overarching, I suppose, analysis of my time in politics is that people in the main are good, people in the main are fair, and it's not a bad job, politics, and I would not discourage people from getting into this profession. And if you sit on Facebook all day, you'll not. If you want to reach out and get the negative, you'll get the negatives are there. But years ago, those same conversations were happening in a pub, and the politicians just didn't get a chance to hear them. So just people can protect themselves in politics too.
So you'll be having more of these conversations in the Glen Bar and others. Is that
I think we're going to have to. I don't know if I'm going to start advocating the return.
No,
to the
I know
pub.
that. But listen, obviously, as impressive as the Downing's GA underage structure is, there's not enough there to sustain all of your time. Have you any idea what you would like to do with the extra time that you have? Of course, you've talked about the importance of your family and what have you, so that goes without saying. But personally, on a personal level, I presume you're not prepared to put on the house jacket and the slippers. Is there an area that you would like to maybe pursue a bit more? Even a return to teaching, dare I say?
Well, look, I'm committed to serving out the mandate. The people of Donegal elected me, so look, that is a full-time job in itself. And it's funny, on Bank Holiday Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday, I was at a tournament in Coleraine, and the phone was going and the texts were going about passports and this, that. So I'm gonna finish out this mandate. But look, during that time, obviously I'll have to start about thinking, as the future gets a bit closer, I'll have to think about it. But look, that I think that's for another day. I'm committed to this. I'll finish it, and I, even if I was offered something even on a part-time basis over the next 2 years, I wouldn't take it, because I wouldn't be doing justice to that, and I wouldn't be doing justice to my own job. And I'm conscious too, and Emer and Evelyn in my office are impacted by this decision, so that's something I'm conscious of as well.
Yeah, and I understand that, and it's in the back of my head, because every action has a reaction, and I think you kind of referenced that, or maybe explicitly referenced that, in that you're having to inform people of a decision that you're taking that's going to impact on their lives and stuff as well. Leo Varadkar, I want to thank Joe McHugh for his work and for successive governments for Ireland, for Fine Gael and his constituents. He has been and will continue to be a dedicated and hard-working member of Fine Gael and Dáil Éireann. I am very sorry to hear that Joe will not be contesting the next general election, but having discussed it with him, I understand his reasons. Deputy McHugh and I were elected to Dáil Éireann at the same time in 2007, both regaining seats for the Fine Gael party. We served together on the Fine Gael front bench in opposition and as ministers in government. It was an honour as Taoiseach to appoint him to the office of Chief Whip and Minister for Gaeltacht, and subsequently as Minister for Education. Joe is one of the most compassionate and kindest person in a profession that is often far from kind. So that's a statement released to us there from Leo Varadkar. Okay, well, sure, we'll be chatting again, I'm sure.
We will. I just thanks as well, Greg, for you and Caroline. I know Caroline has people talk about politicians having a difficult job. Caroline has an impossible job there as well, like herding sheep at times and trying to get
Herding cats more like sheep. Sheep are easy herded. You mean herding cats?
But thanks to you and yourself, Greg, for allowing me to get my voice out there and let the people of Donegal know what's happening.
All right, okay, and it's not easy in government, and those in opposition will see the other side of it, I suppose, maybe down the line, who's to say. But we appreciate your time this morning. As I say, I'm sure we'll be speaking again as you continue as TD representing your area for the next couple of years. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just say, Greg, Doreen Sheridan, the constituency secretary, and Harold Doherty, the constituency chair. This became news to them this over the last couple of days as well. So I'd like to thank them, and I know they've a body of work to do, and I just want to thank them for their support as well.
Can you ask Doreen to go a bit easier on me? You know, she can be.
Well,
she reprimands me for
Doreen just says it as it is, and I think that's what's needed. That's what's needed.
And I wouldn't like it to change. Listen, thanks very much, Joe. I appreciate it greatly. Take care of yourself. That's Deputy Joe McHugh there. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts.
Hear that? It's wonderful, isn't it? The sound of appreciation, of love, of gratitude and joy. Yeah, let's hear it for our ears. Love your ears. Book a free hearing test at hiddenhearing.ie. Your hearing is our expertise.
At McGee's.ie, you can create gallery quality art on canvas from your favourite photo, direct from your phone, laptop or PC. Simply upload your favourite picture and have it printed on canvas, transformed into gallery quality art for as little as $44.95. Click and collect or have it delivered to your door ready to hang. Big pics, small prices. At McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny. See McGee's.ie.
iMotors Nissan, the place for award-winning range of vehicles, including the Micra, Leaf, Duke, Qashqai and the all-new Nissan Ariya. There's a model to suit everyone. Call today or visit our website at imotors.ie for more details, or call 074 913 4567 to arrange a test drive.
Are you going to John's wedding?
Sure, the fly's on that weekend. There'll be sessions up and down the street all day.
Hi, Biggie Ling, Becure agus Crack agus Rira agus Rulabola. Aren't you the best man?
This ad is kindly sponsored by Shop LK, Donegal Fla, Letterkenny, 6th till 8th of May.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress protectors and all kitchen textiles are still half price. But when all our half-price mattress protectors and all our half-price kitchen textiles are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
This is the new Toyota Yaris Cross, a new kind of SUV, a new point of view, new compact style, new spacious feel, and exclusively self-charging hybrid, the right choice for today. Get a new perspective with the Yaris Cross self-charging hybrid, available now at Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, or Drumby, Mount Charles. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota, built for a better world.
COVID-19 booster vaccines now available for over 65s and all eligible patients in your local Healthwise pharmacy. Appointments now available. Please ask in-store or complete an online form at healthwisepharmacies.ie. COVID-19 booster vaccines are the best way to stay protected against COVID-19 and are recommended by our pharmacists. Healthwise Pharmacies, caring for your community.
This Sunday afternoon, as part of a huge doubleheader at Clona's, the Donegal senior ladies begin their quest for an Ulster title against Cavan. Join us on Highland for full live match commentary on air from the 1:45 throw-in and online at highlandradio.com. Coverage of the Donegal senior ladies in the Ulster Championship is in association with Henry McGinley and Sons Limited, Milford, Donegal, for all your general engineering queries, corner lintels and specialised fabrication. Call for a quote on 074 9153 181.
Okay, we are joined on the programme now by Jerry Davenport, former national president of the Community Games and chair of Letterkenny Community Games. Good morning to you, Jerry. Thanks for calling in.
Morning, Greg. Thank you for having me.
It's one of these things we're really talking now, aren't we, about the very future of the Community Games. That's not an exaggeration, is it?
No, it's not an exaggeration. That's why I tried to get on today, Greg, to bring it home to people here within the Letterkenny area. Because Community Games have been in existence in Letterkenny for nearly 50 years. We've seen a decline, all right, over the last number of years, but with COVID and that, people can blame COVID for maybe volunteers not getting involved in that again, but we called our AGM there about a month or so ago, and we had only 3 people turned up.
Heartbreaking.
We called another meeting there 2 weeks ago. 2 extra people turned up, so we had to go again. We decided to give it a third chance. On Monday night, 8:30 in the station house here in Letterkenny, just maybe to bring home to people what is happening and what is likely to happen if things don't improve.
Well, before we get to that, let's talk about the Community Games and their history. For you, what are the Community Games, who's involved in them, and what's their importance?
Community Games was established way back by in Dublin and Walkinstown to involve the communities, areas, housing estates in around the Dublin area that didn't have sporting facilities, and they were basic at the time, but then as years went on, they grew throughout Ireland to be one of the major organisations. And years ago, 30 or 40 years ago, Community Games was the game. That was the only game that was on the pitch, as the man says, at the time.
Yeah.
But things have moved on since, Greg, and other sporting organisations seem to have caught up and passed us out, maybe, in a way.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you, because, between all different sports, GEA, boxing, soccer, basketball, golf, young people playing it, and improved facilities in schools perhaps as well, and more time dedicated to it. My question I ask is there a future for Community Games, or maybe that area is well served now?
That area is well served, but I think there still is a niche there. Now, maybe not in the bigger towns like Letterkenny, but certainly in the smaller communities around the country, and when I say Letterkenny and the size of Letterkenny, I also am aware that there are other areas throughout the country, similarly in size to Letterkenny, that are having difficulties as well. Now, let me say, Greg, we have great support from all the sporting organisations.
Yeah, it's
like
not
if
them
we
and
want
us.
to do the swimming, they'll organise it. We want to do the gymnastics, soccer, Gaelic. The schools helped us with arts and projects and whatnot like that, But they'll still continue. But for them to compete within Letterkenny Area Community Games, there has to be a steering committee in place, and this is where we're finding that we've no problem getting the support out there within the different sports, but it's when it comes down to forming a committee to run the games, and a lot of people maybe shy away over child protection and whatnot, but every organisation has the same issues over child protection.
I think people should be reassured by that, though. I can understand, oh God, a vet, but that's reassuring. That means that anyone that you deal with, they know that you know that you're a good, upstanding citizen, and I think people should be encouraged by that, not discouraged.
That is correct, Greg, and Jerry. I always said that the Garda Vetting is there as much to protect you as it is to protect the child or the children competing.
Like, I think this is one of those things, Jerry, that if you build it, they'll come, to quote that old film. That, in other words, if you get enough people in so that not one or two people's doing all the heavy lifting, to get an event organised, get it in the calendar, there'll be no shortage of people to take part in it and to have fun in it, and for it to be a hugely successful event. It's really getting the event off the ground, is it?
That's correct. You're 100% correct. The children are there. They're eager to compete. They're eager to take part. But we need a steering committee in place. There are a few of us stepping down. Some of us have been involved for more years than we care to remember. We've seen our children come through it, and we've seen our grandchildren come through it. Maybe it's just time for new people in, fresh ideas and a new outlook, and I think that's what we're looking at the minute.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. Community Games, let's just say 2022, right? Where would it be hosted? What kind of sports would be involved? What age groups would compete?
Yeah, well, you compete from 6 to 16, wide ranging, maybe 40, maybe too many activities. You have an area final, an area competition, county competition, regional competition now, because Donegal are in with Galway and Mayo in the Connacht area, and then you go on to a national competition. And we've had a lot of people, Greg, I know it's about competing but competing and participation, but that wee element comes into it as well. And we've had here in Letterkenny, we've had some great people who started out, like Mark English and Sinead Jennings, who started out in community games and
Probably got the taste for it.
Gone on and represented Ireland both at World Championships and the Olympic Games.
In terms of sort of organising them on a local level, Jerry, are you, from other people involved in community games nationwide, are you getting the same message from them, or are we particularly behind a little bit in terms of interest in Donegal, I wonder?
We are not really behind the rest. So there are some very strong counties out there, and always has been strong counties.
But in terms of interest in organising them is really what I'm talking about, rather than competition.
Yes, there is. In certain counties, there is a lack of interest in organising them. Yeah. As I say, the people, the children are there. I'd make an appeal here now today, Greg, for parents to get involved with this committee. The workload will be shared. It's not that you're going to be coming to a committee and you're going to be left sitting there looking around you.
And there's a plan as to how to do it. It's not like,
Correct.
well, what do we do first, or how do we do that? It's a case of we know what to do, and these are the jobs that people have to do. So just to emphasise this, right, because this is we're at a really, really important point here. There's been a couple of meetings to try and get together a committee and to get people involved. So far at this stage, very few people have turned up. There's one meeting, perhaps even the final meeting, to either progress or get shot of this whole notion, I think. It's on Monday the 9th of May. It's at 8:30 p.m. It's in a central location in the Station House Hotel, Letterkenny. And people listening to this have a choice. They can go to that meeting and be the start of saving something and maybe even growing it bigger and better than ever, or they can not turn up and it could just fall into history. That is really almost what this meeting is about, Jerry.
You've put it very well, Greg, and I would hope that Monday night would not be the last meeting of Letterkenny Community Games.
8:30 p.m. in the Station House Hotel. No one's going to be God-vetted on the night, or no one's going to... This is about getting as many people as possible together. People maybe they've retired or on a career break, or maybe they're working from home and have a bit more spare time. Who's to say? But this is about getting people, and the more the merrier, into this building at 8:30 p.m. on Monday night, and to say, right, let's crack our heads together and see what we can create here.
100% correct, Greg. And as I said before, anybody new coming in and taking up a position will not be left on their own. We'll have enough support around them to ensure that the community games continue in Letterkenny for many, many years to come. And I would hope that we have a good turnout on Monday night so we can continue with community games in the Letterkenny area.
All right, okay. It's one of those things that I think if we leave it to John O'Mary down the road, who's big into these things, to do it, and they've other things on and they don't turn up, this is the type of thing that I think people are going to have to take a little bit to say, right, I'll do it. I'll be the person that does it. And we hope there's a great turnout. We'll mention it again on Monday morning as well, Jerry, just in case, people need a final reminder. I'd love to see 20 odd or 20, 30 people there. There's loads of people out there. And we don't need an awful lot of them to make this happen.
Yeah, I think by today, Greg, what we're trying to get out there is to the people within other sport, and I know they have a lot on their plate, on their plate with their own sports and all that, but they're going to have to realise if they want their children and their sport to be involved in community games this year, a new committee has to be formed on Monday night.
Okay, right. It's as simple as that. Not wishing to jump the gun or think too far in advance. When would you be planning, theoretically, the next community games? Is it 2022?
The planning is in place at the minute, and we would have to be registered as an organisation by the 31st of May.
Okay.
So you see, we're time pressure, and we're working towards a deadline. We have to be up and running by the 31st of May in order to compete this year in the community games.
Yeah, okay. The meeting is Monday the 9th of May, this coming Monday, 8:30 p.m. in the Station House Hotel, Letterkenny. Good parking there, and also there's no issue driving in and getting involved. The more the merrier, and you can be part of something really important in getting involved in that. And also brilliant for CV, if people are out there looking for work and all. Employers love to see people involved in this type of work as well.
We're a voluntary organisation, and I'd love to see a lot of people there. And as I say, new faces, new ideas, and which I think would be a big help for us going forward.
Jerry, I hope you get a good turnout. I think so. I think
hopefully, Greg.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'll mention it again on Monday as well. Jerry Davenport, former national president of the Community Games, chair of the Letterkenny Community Games, and current legend, I'm told,
Not really. Another legend standing in the background here as well.
Caroline, no, she's all right. Oh, you're all right, Kieran?
Oh, yes, another legend, yes, that's in the background.
Listen, the very best luck of that. I mean it genuinely. And I think if people get into that room and listen to you, they'll be enthused as well with your passion. So thank you so much.
Can I thank both yourself and Caroline and Highland Radio for giving us the time to get this.
Anything we can do to support things like this. This is what we're here for. This is why I come to work, and I hope we can make a difference. Thank you.
Okay, Greg, thank you.
Bye-bye.
We're all faced with things going up these days, but you'll still find amazing value every single day at Aldi. And you could save over €70 on your big family shop when compared to one of our nearest competitors. Nearest and dearest indeed. So don't change your lifestyle, change your supermarket. Aldi, every day amazing. Comparisons against products sourced in SuperValue 28th of March 22. Lowest pro rate used and offers excluded. For full details, see aldi.ie.
Atlantic Technological University Donegal's May Open Day will take place on Thursday the 5th of May from 3 to 7 p.m. Join us on our Letterkenny campus to discover the wide range of course options available. With undergraduate, postgraduate and part-time offerings, soak in the atmosphere at Donegal's newest university. If you're not able to come in person, log on to our virtual open evening platform on Thursday from 3 to 7, where you'll be able to join live webinars, take a virtual tour and talk to academic and support staff. Atlantic Technological University. The future is here.
The Michael English Celebration Tour comes to the Millennium Forum Derry on Wednesday, May the 11th, and the Strual Arts Centre Oma on Friday, May 20th. Come and join Michael and his super band for a spectacular musical extravaganza, a brand new tour of his best yet. Celebrate once again with a night of non-stop sing-along favourites. It's a show you simply won't want to miss. For more on the Derry show, see millenniumforum.co.uk, and for more on the Oma show, see strualartcentre.co.uk. For details of all Michael's shows, see michaelenglish.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Gatwick's back. You can now fly daily to London Gatwick with Aer Lingus, the perfect gateway to explore South London. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
Okie doke, cloudy start today, although it's already starting to brighten up a little bit. Drier and brighter for the afternoon with sunny spells developing, feeling humid with highs of 13 to 15 degrees in a light to moderate southeasterly breeze.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. Looking for a career in financial services? Consider the Level 9 MA in Governance, Compliance and Data Protection. Take the next step in your career and contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email execed, execed at lyit.ie today.
And on to a really busy show. We're delighted to welcome the presenter of Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast, Kieran O'Donnell. Good morning to you, Kieran. How are you keeping?
Good morning, Greg. I'm very good.
It's good to have you in with us. Right, I'm doing good actually.
You're busy?
Yeah. It is always busy.
Spinning plates?
Spinning plates, yeah. But it's I've done much harder work too, Kieran, so I'm not complaining. My hands
I enjoyed your interview with Joe there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's going to prompt a lot of emotions out there because there are going to be those, and I think those particularly affected by the mica crisis. And although Joe was committed to work hard for them for 2 years, there's going to be a sense that I feel that he's walking away. That he's walking away from the problem. And that's something he's going to have to deal with and contend with. And that's an emotion I can understand. That some might say, well, if it meant that much, stay on and fight for it. But there comes a point where you have to make your own decisions for your own sake as well. That'll be teased out, I suppose, over the next couple of years. I don't think he's going to be the first, the last that might choose not to go the next time either. Anyway. Right, okay, on to the business news. The ATU Donegal, formerly LYIT, formerly the regional, there's an open evening. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're still getting used to the new name, Greg. ATU
To
Donegal.
such an extent, we're not saying it.
We'll host an on-campus open evening in Letterkenny tomorrow, Thursday, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. This event will provide prospective students with a chance to connect face-to-face with ATU Donegal's academic and student support staff. It's worth noting this is the final on-campus event before the Leaving Certificate begins, Greg, so those considering ATU Donegal and their CEO choices are advised to register and attend the event. More information is available on ATU Donegal's social media platforms.
I wonder, will there be a huge interest from the get-go, or will it take a couple of years for the penny to drop that this is, it always has been a legitimate alternative, but more so now than previously, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, maybe in the age we live in now, where everything is at the touch of a button, and I think that the changing and the branding and the change of the name will happen much quicker, given the age that we're living in now, Greg. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because I saw a few signs for ATU Sligo, and it kind of was confused. I was ATU Sligo.
It's a major job for an institution to sort of switch over like that and get
exactly.
that message out there. I think it will take time, but I think it's catching on. Catching on well, to be fair.
But maybe they're to be seen as a whole rather than as individual camp. I don't know. Anyway, that'll all be teased out, I suppose, as they do their work for PR, in terms of PR. Another mention of this new cancelled grant scheme for those that are tuning into this hour but didn't hear the last one.
I know you had Kieran Martin on earlier on this morning. Donegal County Council has launched a new grant scheme for local businesses that aims to support the development of overnight facilities for the caravan, camping, campervan and motorhome sector in the county. The grant aid is being offered at up to 50% of actual cost for local businesses, and the application process is open until Monday, May the 30th. It's also proposed that a further call for applications from community and voluntary-based groups will open in early June. Further information, contact Amanda McNamee by emailing ccc.grantscheme@donegalcoco.ie or telephone 91722282.
All right, a wee bit of news from the Letterkenny Chamber.
Yeah, just a wee thing that caught me there last night. Letterkenny Chamber held its first in-person board meeting for over 2 years. Recently, since the start of 2020, so it's another sign that thankfully things are returning to normal.
All right, the Education and Training Board have a walk-in information session. What's this about?
Yeah, it's going to take place on Wednesday, May the 18th on 2 traineeships, data science and international trade. The session will take place at 6 p.m. in the ETB's Letterkenny Training Centre on Ramelton Road, and will provide an opportunity for people to talk to staff about the course content and future employment opportunities.
Yeah, indeed. This is a story that caught my eye. A Donegal man winning Deal of the Year, the Deal of the Year award. This is property related, is it?
Yeah, Kevin Sweeney from Crossroads in Kellygordon has won the Deal of the Year award for the letting of a combined 60,000 square foot at the new Cleary's Quarter on Dublin's O'Connell Street. Kevin is Director of Retail at Savills Ireland and was presented with his award at the inaugural Property Awards ceremony in Dublin last Thursday night. So nominations were judged by a panel of 6 experts across 12 categories, and these identified the highest level of achievement across both residential and commercial sectors.
All right,
so well done to him.
Yeah, another local person doing good on the big stage. Great stuff. Congratulations, Kevin. Right, okay, that's a look at some of the news. Let's talk about this week's business podcast, Kieran.
Yes, my guest this week, Greg, is Mclaughlin-based Irish designer Bernie Murphy. Bernie worked at Fruit of the Loom for 21 years and set up her own business in 2017. She grew up in a family in which traditional sewing and knitting were valued skills, and at a time when the textile industry was still a major employment provider throughout the Northwest. Bernie is passionate about traditional Irish fabrics and exports her creations all over the world, with Europe and the United States being her biggest markets. Bernie also teaches the skill of sewing to children and adults at Spree Agus Sport in Carndonagh. In this clip, Bernie talks about the advantages of working from home while working for herself.
It depends on what the workload is. You can work late or you can work early, get up at 6 and finish at 6, but usually in busy times you'd be getting up at 6 and finishing at 12, but and no, it's great, and to be able, like my parents are thankfully both are with us now, but it's be able to have that flexibility to be able to do other things in your personal life that you wouldn't have that opportunity if I was still working in Fruit of the Loom. Maybe their policies would have changed and you could work flexi time, but no, it's just that you're working for yourself and creating beautiful things for other people. So working from home to me suits me well, and serves me well.
All right, another fascinating business story, but personal journey there, Kieran. Seems to be you hit the nail on the head in that regard often.
Yeah, look, Bernie went back to college and she upskilled and retrained herself. She's actually teaching part-time, and she's teaching now in Spree Agus Sport as well. And look, she's talked about being able to work from home and the advantages of working from home while working for herself. One thing that she didn't mention during the podcast and asked me to mention, what the visits to the studio are by appointment only, so you can contact Bernie, but you need to do it by appointment only. But the fact that she talked about starting from nothing, creating something from nothing, and literally sending it to all parts of the world must be a great sense of job satisfaction for her as well.
All right, and the interview in its entirety available right now?
Yeah, Business Matters is available on our website, highlandradio.com, and on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast.
And if you just want to listen to it on the radio as a scheduled show, it's up on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, Sunday evening, Greg, after the 6 o'clock news.
All right, okay. You'll be probably listening to that on your way back from Clonus, will you?
Correct.
Are you looking forward to it? How do you think it's going to go?
I think we'll win, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I agree. Okay, email the show, businessmatters@highlandradio.com. Must be close to 100 at this stage, Kieran.
90.
He just tends to go. Good man, Kieran. Thanks very much for that, as always.
Good morning, Greg.
All right, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp or text line, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 07491 25,000. The chair of the Donegal Executive of Fine Gael, Harold Doherty, has been on to us. He wants to wish Joe McHugh well. He says, while we are upset that he's stepping down, we wish him well and thank him for all his work and the investment he brought to the county. We look forward to working with him over the next 2 years. I mentioned actually in the course of that interview with Joe McHugh that Leo Varadkar is in Donegal on Friday, and we're hoping to have him on this programme at some point between 9 and 12. So if you're a fan or otherwise, tune in between 9 and 12 here on this programme. True gentleman and great help to us in the Glen Swilly community. He, as Minister for Education, played a vital role in getting us our long-awaited extension. Joe McHugh won't be missed as a politician, did nothing for Donegal, probably wouldn't get voted in the next election anyway. Joe McHugh would not get elected the next time anyway, says another caller. And all valid points, and we'll get to all of those, and I'm sure it will be debated and tossed backwards and forwards. But at the end of the day, we are all humans and individuals, and try to focus a little bit on his views and what he thought was positive and otherwise. But as I say, everyone will have a view, don't you know, over the next wee while. Right. We'll be back with a wrap-up on the programme after this break. I just want to mention... Actually, I'll do that after we have this break. Be right back.
The CFC Interior stock disposal sale ends this weekend. Due to overstock, an incredible £1.5 million worth of stock must go. Don't miss our highest ever discount on selected ranges across all departments. The stock disposal sale at CFC Interiors, Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre.
Sunday, April 3rd was Census Night, and our enumerators have now finished collecting census forms. Every form must be returned, so if your form hasn't been collected, please free post it now to the address on the front of your form. Visit census.ie to find out more. Be counted.
The Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation presents its 20th anniversary Blue Stack Challenge fundraising walk on the 21st of May. The Blue Stack Foundation is dedicated to enhancing the lives of individuals with additional needs. They offer a range of supports to children, vulnerable adults and their families. This year's ambition is to fund expansion into the wider Donegal area. Registration closing soon. To register or donate, visit www.bluestackfoundation.com. This ad is sponsored by Print Supplies Donegal.
Teagasc are holding a spring crop walk this Wednesday the 4th at 7 p.m. on the farm of P&D Killen, Labadish, Manor Cunningham, F92, K7, 29. Topics include spring and winter crop management, nutrient management and outlook for tillage. Speakers are Shay Phelan, Teagasc crop specialist, and Martin McCullough, Teagasc Donegal. All are welcome.
In the build-up to the County Flower, which takes place in Letterkenny this weekend, Joan Breslin will present Around the Northwest from Letterkenny's Main Street, just outside Dillon's Hotel this Thursday. Tune in to find out about the County Flower weekend, as well as the Cayleys concerts and sessions that will take place at various locations throughout the town this weekend. That's Around the Northwest, live from Letterkenny's Main Street this Thursday from 12 noon.
All right, we were chatting to Gemma Farmer earlier on, his views on support for farming. Paul on social media says, listening to your programme about farming and it being a family business, looking for help from government, I wish the same applied to the haulage industry, as I used to own my own business, had to close up because I never got any help from government. And I can understand exactly why you might feel like that. Another caller says, where is this message that I had? Yep. Hi, Greg. Following on from my message yesterday on breast check, I phoned them this morning, and after taking my details and after asking why I had not had an appointment since 2018, I was told they were running behind because of COVID. And when I said a few of my friends got their checks last year and I was always before them and COVID-19 was still around, she couldn't say what had happened. But after checking my details, and as if by magic, I had an appointment, she said, I see you are scheduled for an appointment on the 13th of May. What a coincidence. In Letterkenny, should be in the post as we speak. So if in the post, I should receive it today, and I hope you do. The moral of these health appointments is, if running behind schedule, chase it up with a phone call. I did, and it got sorted. Okay. There's more to that message, actually, which is quite important, which I'll get to tomorrow. But that's where we have to leave